Under the moon so bright, there's a girl with powers. Oh, she's out of sight. She flies through the sky with grace and might. My heart beats faster every single night. Oh, Supergirl, you're my dream come true. With your cape and your curls, I'm falling for you. You saved the world, but you've saved me too. I'm just a boy, but I'm in love with you. With eyes that see through all the lies, you've looked into my soul, where my love resides. You're faster than a speeding bullet and stronger than steel, but it's your heart that makes me feel so real. Oh, Supergirl, you're my dream come true. With your cape and your curls, I'm falling for you. You saved the world, but you've saved me too. I'm just a boy, but I'm in love with you. You don't need my rescue, but I'm here by your side to be your strength, your comfort, your ride or die. In a world of chaos, you're my strength and calm. My darling Supergirl, I will do you no harm. Oh, Supergirl, you're my dream come true. With your cape and your curls, I'm falling for you. You saved the world, but you saved me too. I'm just a boy, but I'm in love with you. So when the night does fall.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Uncommon podcast. It's our 169th live stream. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. It is the weekend. It is time to relax and chill. I hope everyone is doing well. Let's get Dee into the studio right now. Dee, how are you?
Hey everybody, what is up? Happy Aloha Friday. No work till whenever you gotta go back to work. Do 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 do. Hey everybody. You know you love that jingle. Happy Aloha Friday to you, Hinano. How are you?
Can't get enough of it. I'm good. I'm doing good. It's the end of the week. It's really cool. It's been a stressful week, so I'm glad it's freaking over, and we're here to relax and have a good time. I hope everyone is doing well. Dee, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. You know, just chilling and relaxing and chilling, and yeah, just excited to be here on Aloha Friday. We have a special guest today. We're gonna be talking with him in a little bit, and yeah, get to know him as we didn't really get a chance to. Last year when we met in real life. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. Let's go.
Awesome. Let's go. Well, let's just get them in already. Guys, we're not going to be at the beach, though. We need to go into the studio. So, all right, guys, we'll see you soon.
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bunny that turns into a bear, it's story time. Bildo.
What's up, Bildo?
GM from the PM. It's so good to be here. it like I feel like I was like totally cool, but then like I saw a countdown and like seeing the little like you're live, everybody can see and hear you. I'm like, uh-oh, like all right, this is for
Yeah.
real. Like, okay,
There's no
here we go.
fucking turning back, man. You passed the
But
windmill.
yeah, no, happy to be here. Thanks.
Right on, man. It's good to see you. Now, for the audience that don't know, we know Bildo from Storytime, but Bildo is also a big supporter and also purveyor for Futurverse. And I think it's been almost 6 months that we've been doing Storytime together, I believe, Bildo.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave and that. Like, I feel like it was like the first one or two, and I'm like, dude, you like this is a gold mine. Like, this is such a like huge tool that like it really does bring people together. And like even like the last one where we were like shared in real life stories, and I feel like we were all a little bit shocked of like, oh shit, like I didn't.
Yeah.
So it really, I feel like, has brought a lot of people together. So and I've had countless amounts of laughs. So yeah, I've had a good time with Storytime.
Same here, man. I gotta admit, we came late to Storytime. I think maybe it was like 2 or 3 weeks in, you guys were doing it, and we kind of showed up. And I think it was just a fluke. I was listening to you guys one night. I'm like, I want to add something to the story. Should I go up? And she's like, yeah, go up. And I'm like, yeah, nah, Dave don't want me up there. But I went up there, and then yeah, we never stopped since. At the very beginning, I was taking off work to actually enjoy Storytime. I'm able to do that now, but I really enjoyed it. It reminds me of like a choose your adventure type of thing. Like Dragon Slayer. I don't know if you play Dragon Slayer, or what's that? If you ever watched the movie Big, where Tom Hanks creates that comic book where you can choose your own adventure, so that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
And it lets us kind of loose in our minds. I mean, if people,
Very
if
loose.
people, yeah, very loose. Like people will see a different side of Hinano. It's story time, obviously, but it's a lot of fun. But before we get into story time, because we're going to talk about that, we're going to talk about you first, Bildo. We want to kind of know about Bildo and the origins of how you kind of got here. So for our audience that has never met Bildo before, doesn't even know what the bunny is or the bear is, could you kind of give us your origin story and how you got here? We know you from Miss Gex, from Bill and Gex Excellent Adventures, but like before that, how did you get here? Give us your origin story. Let us know how you found this place.
So, going like full circle, I have a good friend, and I grew up like rollerblading in, I guess, like the 90s, and like was quite good at it. Like traveled, did a bunch of competitions, was very into it. We were skating one day, and my friend John, we were partaking in some, high school, shenanigans, and we were having a good time, and he spurted out Bildo and was like, "Oh shit, your name's Bildo." And so throughout all of high school, I had people calling my house, leaving like, on the answering machine before it was like even voicemail or anything like that. Like, yo, this message for Bildo. Like, and I'm like, oh man, this is awful. And then I lost that persona or that nickname for a very long time. That particular friend told me about a NFT that was going to be minting. I had previously, throughout like 2019 and 2020, I had bought some like XRP. I had bought some Doge. I did very well on Doge in the beginning. And that was because like a realtor friend did like extremely well. But he got in. Yeah, it's a wild story. But either which way, did very well on Doge. So I was familiar with crypto, wasn't really familiar with NFTs. He told me about a project. It was called Drug Receipts, that they were going to be minting. It was founded by 3 professional skaters. One of them being like the Tony Hawk of rollerblading. Like he's just an absolute legend. He created a company called Senate in the early 90s, and him and the other founder, Brooke, they did went from 0 to 13 million in sales in a year and a half time. So I knew they knew how to market it. Brooke was also a founder of Non-Fungible Labs, and Non-Fungible Labs is responsible for Fluff World, for Burrows, for Thingies, for a whole heap of NFT collections. And this is at probably the end of 2021. And at the time, Fluff was a top 10 NFT project. It was, the floors were very high, things were going very good. Then they were going to be, launching a subsidiary called Drug Receipts. So minted Drug Receipts. I was under a different persona. And then one day in Discord, we were all having a good time. And the same friend that got me into it and gave me the nickname fucking 20 years ago was like, oh, it's Bildo. Oh, it's Bildo Verde. And yeah,
it's like a sauce.
And yeah. So you'll see me in chat. My name is it's a little, not literal translation, but Bildo is obviously a nickname for Billy. That is my real name. Last name is Green, so that's where the Verde comes from. So I have no issues with being doxxed, but yeah, that's kind of how I got into Bildo, to NFTs. Once I minted Drug Receipts, they were kind of the redheaded stepchild of what we now know as Futurverse. But this was before Futurverse had formed. So in the beginning, you had Fluff World. They were kind of the OG of OGs, or that was the first thing that had minted, and it did very, very, very well. And that was all under a company called Non-Fungible Labs. The founder of Futurverse, Aaron, his brother, then had a company called Altered State Machine that minted these Genesis boxes that when you opened them, they had a Genesis brain and these APHA characters. Those did very, very well. Party Bears came out. They did very, very well. Thingies were airdropped. They did very, very, so everything that they touched did from I guess August of 2021 until, I feel once Bored Apes did that land sale, and gas was crazy, and I feel it just sucked out so much liquidity just in gas prices alone. And then I feel the NFT market from that point on had kind of just completely gone downhill. So it's been a ride, but in the beginning, Fluff was always the goal of okay, I bought into these Drug Receipts, but there's such a bigger, they're part of something a lot bigger. So Fluff was always the dream. I made a post one day, and the Drug Receipts, they're these little cartoon, I don't know, characters. Some of them are holding signs, some of them, different shit. So either which way, I had one of the team members change one of the signs that it's in it. It said, I forget what it said, but I said I want it to say "Hold my fluff," and so he put a carrot in one hand and was holding a carrot, and in the other hand it had a sign that said "Hold my fluff," and I said I OD'd on Drug Receipts, but until then, hold my fluff, and I made a post, and a very respectable community member said, "Hey, Brooke, you should take care of Bildo. He's been awesome." And then Aaron responded and said, "I'll do you one better. Send me your wallet address and I'll send you a fluff." And so my first fluff that I ever got was a gift from Aaron. And
Wow.
it's been interesting because I'm sure you guys see it with like, you guys do multiple giveaways as well. So like it can be disheartening when like people give stuff away, then you immediately see it like, well, that took you fucking 3 hours to, sell on like whatever market that, items get sold on.
Yeah.
So I tried to really make an example that like sometimes like when you do good things for people that like other people may, like block the guy that made the original comment, I feel like was like, this is a good guy, I want him in our community, and Aaron rewarded that and took a chance. So I've always tried to be somewhat of an example of like, look, if you do good things for good people, they'll try to give back and like continue to grow. So I've always tried to come from a place of gratitude because again, at the time, like if I would have floored it, it would have been like $6,000. I'm like, this guy just gave me $6,000. Like this, like I was absolutely speechless and still hold it to this day. If I sell all of my collectibles, that will probably be, it's not my favorite looking,
Fluff.
but it's definitely like has the most like sentimental value to me that it would be very, very difficult for me to ever part ways with that particular fluff.
And that's
So he
cool.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
He pretty much vouched for you based upon a post. That's like incredible. Yeah, taking like trusting someone to not do like flip it right away and like make some gains.
And I mean,
out
like
of it.
that has happened in the past, and like it's been something that was talked about in our community. Like, oh, Aaron, if people beg enough, like he might just give you some stuff, and that was never my intention. So when I won it, I think some of the community that didn't know me was like, oh, here comes another
What about this guy?
Yeah. And then like over time, I think they're like, man, that one really worked out. Sometimes you give away something and it really pays off and turns it. And again, I now have, I think 17. So like, it's not like I haven't like invested back into like, you took a belief in me. I did very well. I'm going to invest back into this. And, it's been a wild ride. So, we'll see where it goes.
Man, that is a long but yet really compact story on how you kind of found this place. Let alone, it's really interesting to see how Futurverse first was kind of like conceived. And then what I wanted to say was these fluffs are kind of like a comparable to like say Vivi's gold and silver logo. That was something similar where like people were trying to get these logos, for whatever reasons. These logos are like around $4,000 to $6,000. And some of these were awarded to some people because they were actual collectors. Some people got it because they're actual collectors and they literally cheated right out of it. And I know some people that still hold it till this day. So it's kind of similar on that sense. But I kind of wanted to know what these fluffs are about, Bildo. Like, what is Fluff World? What does this asset do? Like, I know what a kid called Beast is. I know what broadsiders are. But what is Fluff World?
So funny. I mean, a kid called Beast, going full circle. So like we've all, Web3 is a crazy space, and like Twitter, Discord, like bear market, things aren't going the right way. People, can get a little bit angry. And like, I will be the first to admit, like I over invested, especially into drug receipts, and things didn't go the best for me. And I was definitely a vocal person calling out things that I might not necessarily have disagreed with. So long time ago, I'm back in now, everything's all good, but I was actually banned from their Discord.
Oh, shit.
And it was like right at the time. The only thing I feel like, I can't say the only thing, but at the time, the biggest benefit that they provided was getting a bunch of whitelists for a kid called Beast. And like when those things minted, they like went through the roof. And I really wish that I had not been banned from the Discord because I did not get a whitelist. So I've always been a little bit jaded about a kid called Beast. Like nothing personal. Like
no,
they've
we
always,
get it.
they've
How it
always been
happened.
cool.
Yeah.
They've always done cool stuff, but just personally, that's been like my story of like, kid called Beast.
Yeah, I get it.
So, yeah, I don't really, I don't know how to feel, but that's my own personal thing with a kid called Beast. Fluff World. I mean, it's been a transition, I feel like. So in the beginning, there was a predated, and that's like, I mean, Fluff World may be like a silver logo. Like as much as I love Fluff and it's the OG, like for all the people that like are diehards, there is a predated, and this like predates Bored Ape Yacht Club as well, but they had a collection called Pixel of the Apes. So Non-Fungible Labs, which is the creator of Fluff World, which was one of the companies that was rolled up to form Futurverse, was founded by Aaron McDonald, founder of Futurverse. People know a guy named Brooke Howard Smith, who is the pro rollerblader. Like he has won like X Games medals like way back in the day. He's actually like quite famous in New Zealand as well because he used to be like a host of a very famous TV show. And like one of like my favorite personality, like he is a little bit unhinged. So I feel like once Futureverse was formed and maybe had some bigger partnerships, they couldn't necessarily have the risk of him saying, he was just,
he was a
very
maverick.
fun personality. And then they formed, they basically partnered with a guy named Jesse Metcalf and Alex, it's like Schmelly. And they had created a project called Pixel of the Apes. And it's like these pixelated apes that are based off of random, like there is a Chuck Norris one, there is like a Kane, like from like WWE wrestling, there is all different forms. There's like a Pokemon, like an Ash Ketchum, all different like throughout. So they're all
the collection.
Yeah, they haven't all been released. It's a very small collection, but like hands down the most desired. Like if you have, they call them POTA or Pixel of the Apes. So they did for a while. They were releasing new ones and rewarding like content creators. So like content creator of the month ended up winning a POTA. They have since stopped that. So POTAs are the OG of OG, and that was a collection done by Jesse and Alex. They are both still part of Futureverse. So Jesse, Alex, Brooke, Aaron started Non-Fungible Labs. They created Fluff World. It was the first like 3D, like fully animated, like it moves, it has like different animations to it. You can swap backgrounds, you can swap music. So a lot of the things that they had done with NFTs, especially at that time, it was just so different than your, stagnant 2D, Bored Ape type of picture. So I was kind of in from that point. It was talked about forever that, they would build out, a game. It was going to be called Third Kingdom. And all of these assets that they had been either minting or giving out played a different part of a role. I think they took a giant shift once everything was rolled up under one conglomerate. So like Aaron's brother, David McDonald, started Altered State Machine, or ASM, and they were operating separately outside of like non-fungible labs and fluff, but they were so like tied in that was like they worked together. And then Seekers also has like a token associated with it, Silo, and that was like peak. I feel like peak bull run, probably right before the other side, and like that meant they did like a different mint mechanic. So they started with like 50,000 total seekers that could be minting, and the lore behind it was amazing. And like goblins were coming to attack these seekers for their parts because goblins need to build a portal back to their world. You'll learn more about that later, but you got to save our seekers. And started with a 50,000 supply, and like as time went on, the supply would slowly decrease. So if it took 24 hours, maybe the supply would have only been 25,000 if it minted out. So as the clock winds down, the less. So it ended up minting out at like 48,000 and minted in like an hour and 15 minutes. And I think it was like the largest amount of NFTs sold in the shortest amount of time at the time. So that was like, but they were all
mint price. How much for the mint price?
Most of them were all like 0.09, like ETH. So Fluffs minted at 0.09, ASM boxes minted at 0.09, Burrows I think minted at 0.22, Party Bears I'm not even sure, Thingies were airdropped, Eggs were airdropped, Seekers was like 0.1.
So it's like $300, right? About?
Yeah, at the time it was like, yeah, I mean, ETH was like $3,000 back then as well. So, yeah, but then like Fluffs got up to like, I mean, within like Brooke always would tell a story of like, this was his company, and, like the mint was going live, and he was like, it's all right. Like, I got some time, like, I don't need to be there. It minted out immediately, and then I want to say it was like 15 million in sales in like the first week. And they were like completely like blown away. And Brooke was like, shit, like, I ended up paying a lot more, but like, this is my project. I thought I had some time. But it was, that was that leading into 2022, I feel like was still like Bored Apes at 100, like Fluffs at a time, the floor is probably like 4 ETH, I think, 5 ETH maybe at the high. ASM Brains were the same thing. Like Brains used to be more expensive for like the speculation of like, AI and what it could do. If anything, I feel like I've learned that like, I think a lot of people have the same vision for what they want for digital collectibles, no matter what it is that they're collecting. I just don't think the technology was there in 2021 or 2022 or even really 2023. We started to see people making some like big strides. So shame on me for like thinking we could get there a lot quicker.
They had good marketing, Bildo.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, and again, a lot of people made a lot of money, based on, again, I will say that I've played the trading game as well. And like, look, let me buy this. Cool. Held it for a couple hours and now I can sell it for this. Like I'm out. Like good luck. Sometimes it's pumped and I'm in like, fuck, I should have held on to it for a little bit longer. Sometimes, you know, I'm like, cool, I sold at a good time. Either which way, it was they were some wild times. Overall, I feel like I did okay. Or I'm not so jaded that I want to leave the space.
Wow, man. So first off, I've never heard of the fluffs until like I first met you, and I still was wondering what these are. And it sounds like there are multiple assets that can be used in the third kingdom. I'm assuming these are assets that can be used in the third kingdom. Did we lose Bildo? Where'd he go?
Smoke break.
Okay. Well, anyways, let me keep talking. But yeah, no, like so you got the fluffs, you got the bears, you got the burrows, and I don't know whatever else. Are these all like avatars that you can use in the game itself, and they're specifically different assets, kind of like an example is like a kid called Beast and a broadsider?
So I'm learning more about broadside. I've been hearing that more recently. Yeah, it's interesting. So I mean, it's tough because like originally we thought Third Kingdom would be kind of more of like that open world game that we're now getting with Open. So I guess we were all thinking the Third Kingdom would be something completely different. Then they formed Futurverse, rolling up 11 companies, Altered State being one of those, Non-Fungible Labs that had all of those different collections being one of those, and a variety of other companies. So when that happened, that also like led into the announcement of like partnering with Ready Player One and then creating the game that will be called Open. And so Open kind of took over what we were expecting Third Kingdom to be, but obviously we don't get the Third Kingdom that we were originally anticipating. But like to be able to partner with Ernest Cline, the writer of Ready Player One, and like if people think about metaverse, I think most of the time people associate with like, you know, Parzival walking through and like changing outfits, like just with like a click, you know what I mean? And or just like walking into like, oh, well, this is like this dance area, or this is like the race area, or this is like no holds bar. Like you could get zeroed out if you get killed in this area. But like there is any type of world that anybody can imagine, and you can do it wherever you want to go. So like it's interesting. I'm okay with not getting what we originally thought with the Third Kingdom. We're still seeing how I think a lot of people view fluffs as like, I don't know if we'll ever see the bull run that we saw in 2021 and 2022. I don't know that my fluff will ever be worth 5, 10 ETH like some of my fluffs used to be worth. That being said, they created Futurverse, then they rolled out the Root Network, which is a layer one. They had met with all the big, you know, quote unquote gaming type of change, and none of them made sense, and or they were only solving for one problem. They weren't really trying to kind of build. I think they decided they wanted to build a custom network to try to facilitate the progression of like where we need to be. And it has been a bit of a slow process, but I think over the past couple of years, we've seen them lay a lot of the groundwork that now when you really think about it, it's like, oh yeah, this is why companies weren't like, you can't like, interoperability sounds amazing, but like when you really start to think about it, like, you know, I know you guys with VV, I know Candy has like experienced it to where it's like we we don't really own our stuff, but like if it's on an Ethereum chain, like you're still kind of blocked into that like Ethereum chain, and it's like it can do things that are on this chain, but like it can't really like go anywhere else. You can like take the 3D file and then like put it into Blender and do some stuff, but like I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? Like I have no idea how to do any of that. So like to be able to make things really and truly interoperable, there need to be a lot of tech protocols put in place to kind of enable that. And albeit it's been a slow process from like what we originally bought fluffs for and what we thought they would be to where now they're going. Um, it's been a process, but I also see and are now hearing from other companies like these people are so ahead of the game that like they have already solved problems that other people don't even realize that are going to be a problem yet. You know what I mean? And it's like everybody wants to build and like capitalize on what's hot right now. I feel like they said, okay, we see what's hot right now. Let's see the evolution of this. Let's map out all the problems, all the pain points, all the things that can potentially cause this to not happen, and build solutions to enable all of this. So it's been a slow year of like boring protocol tech layer type of things getting put in place. I feel like 2025 is the year that they kind of start to showcase a lot of that tech and like, oh, like, whoa, we can do this. You know what I mean? So they've always done a good job of with whatever pivot that has been made for overall, to me, a much bigger piece of a pie. Of rewarding the assets and you holding, and you know, if you are a collector of like rare items, then rare items might get a little bit more of a score, so you might get a little bit more of, you know, a token. So they've done a good job of always taking care of it, and we're about to see, we just started team challenges in the Third Kingdom. After those challenges are over, then our assets start to come into play into that game. And so like we don't necessarily know how, but I think some might be like automated harvesting. So you could set a particular character to like, so you don't have to go into the game every hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, however long that you need to check in to like do certain things. You know, people speculate that it'll be multipliers. So they've always done a good job of rewarding all of the assets in ways that even if we don't, or people are mad that, you know, you bought a gold logo at the Pico top and you bought it for 10 grand and now it's only worth 3 grand. And you're like, why did I buy this fucking gold card at fucking 10 grand? Like they've done a good job with providing value back, that even if I never get my 10 grand back for the actual item for me selling it, they have provided far more than that 10 grand back in value.
You've got an experience out of it.
Yeah, no, not even just experience, but like tokens. You know, like at the end of the day, for all the things that I hold within like the Futurverse, I've been airdropped like a lot of root token. And depending on how you play that game, like, you know, it's at 2 cents right now. It's been as high as like 13 cents. And or once you start to see more of the adoption and the bigger players in a game like Open that's on Epic Game Store, but like built on Root and like those transactions, like there's a lot of things that I feel like they have been putting all of like laying the groundwork to then say we can go build as big as we want because we have this giant foundation to kind of build upon. We just haven't seen, or we've been waiting And it seems like we're at that tip of the iceberg that everything's about to be. Like, we're seeing people play it. They're doing like a closed beta version of open right now. We saw a first little teaser of it. A lot of people, not a lot of people, I think there's like 30 people maybe that were able to like test out the game. So like, we know it's happening.
Were you one of them?
No, I was not.
No?
I did not get early access.
Someone with an NDA would say that, though.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
I mean, there are NDAs that people sign, like if you are one of them. I definitely am not. They have made tweets about it, but like they did like a full on, like, you know, like it's Ready Player One. So it was like a hunt, and like you had to solve a bunch of clues. And so they did like the top 10 people that solved it. I was not one of the people that got it quick enough. And then they did like a community champion, but it was like one of those, like, I don't know what they call them.
Hey, Bildo, real quick. Someone has popped into the studio. Now, I haven't given any links to anybody. I don't know about D over here, but somebody's here. I'm going to let this person up. I don't even know who it is. I don't know if you can see this person. It says White Collar Hacker. I'm feeling I know who that is, but we'll find out. Let's go.
Dave.
White Collar Hacker. You
Hello,
are
are you
on the
there?
stream.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hey, yo, Junie.
To do that.
Hey, yo, Junie.
Let me know if there's something else I can help with.
Oh no, you broke her.
Junie, can you say hello?
Hello. What can I do for you today?
Well, we just went over everything. What do you mean? Why do you do this to me all the time, Junie? Like, you're on Aloha Friday. Read what you wrote.
I'm here to help. If there's anything specific,
You know what? I'm tired of this nonsense. I'm
Fluff.
tired of this nonsense. This is some bullshit, Junie. This is really this is ridiculous. Unbelievable.
Unplug it back in.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to come back? We can bring you back if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut it off and come back. What a waste of a good entrance. Fucking bullshit. Some motherfucker.
What's going
What's
on?
up?
What's up, Don Don?
What up?
White Collar Hacker. White Collar Hacker.
Yeah, White Collar Hacker. It's Bildo's famous old person line from yesterday. It was fucking classic. He was like, "Listen, Casey, if you're gonna start learning how to code, there's these white collar hackers." I'm like, "The fuck is a white collar hacker? It's crazy, motherfucker." What's up? I just came from Tasha's stream, gave her a bunch of shit. I was like, "Why are you scheduling the same fucking? Everyone's scheduling the same shit at 10 o'clock." I was like, have a little understanding for people like myself that not have to make the rounds over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to show a little love to everybody, but nothing really going on over there. It's nothing special. Just you guys aren't missing anything. What's up?
Let's go, Dave. What the fuck is up, man? What's new? Drop a bomb on us. Let's go.
But so Bildo said fluff 3 times. I drank 3 times. Bildo says fluff. We have to drink. But yeah, man. Chilling, man. Chilling. What's good? Aloha Friday. Relaxing. What up to everybody here? Is this still part of the Uncommon podcast? Yes, right?
Yes. It's just a show. We call it Aloha Friday.
What up, Uncommon podcast?
What up?
What up?
Like, I feel like you had to come on the 169th stream. Like, it wouldn't be.
Is this the 169th?
Oh yeah, it's planned, man. It got planned.
See, I didn't get a good number. What number was I? I was like 120 something, no? Like, or 100 and...
Not 169,
Not 169. You're right.
I can't even remember. We had so many after.
It's news, guys. Who's cooking?
Well, we're learning a little bit about Bildo in the Futurverse and how he was named Bildo. And there's a lot of things we've learned about him. Dave, you want to ask Bildo anything? He's pretty much giving everything to us right now.
No, I just want to give him some very specific instructions. That there's no way I'm going to allow him to talk that much when we co-host Space next week. So if he does, I'll fucking shoot him. But other than that,
Japanese.
yeah. Nah, man, I just came here to chill, hang out with you guys, say what's up. I'm excited for the space that we're going to be running with these Futurverse dudes next week. You know, we got Aaron coming on, the Think guys from 6079, and like Mikey and
Nice.
Jesse and these guys. So yeah, man, I'm super excited for it. And you know, I reached out to them and I was like, "Is there any other guys that you wanna invite?" So they're gonna invite some guys from another protocol called Morpheus or something like that. And I still got to do a little homework on it, but yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, these are like the high level conversations that I genuinely like love having because you really get to understand like what the fuck is going on in this ecosystem. I was ready to throw my laptop today at some point because I found, you guys know how hard I've been working on building this Junie shit out, right? With all these APIs and all this craziness. I found literally a fucking builder today that was so simple and so easy. It was crazy. I was just like, wait a minute. So I just hit plug in, done. And it's like, you can add any LLM you want, any plugin you want. I'm just like, this is like, I've been struggling with all this, and this is just click, 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 click. So I'm definitely going to be playing around with that. It's just
it's a control panel that you connect to, and it allows you to like kind of like
bro,
facilitate all of your operations.
You literally just like you choose which plug. So you choose the LLM, right? So it's like DeepSeek, OpenAI, Claude, whatever. Then you choose which plugins you want, right? So it's like you want DeFi Llama, crypto data. Do you want 4chan, fucking like social data? Do you want? And they have like
data sets.
Yeah, it's dude, and then it's literally one touch launch. You launch a token, the whole 9 yards, like, and you have to see the liquidity. I think it's just like 1 ETH or something like that, and all the fees that are generated, 50% go to you and 50% go to them, which is fucking crazy when you really think about 50% of like the pool fee. So I don't know, like it's just moving so fast. It's just, and I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, fuck. I spent all this time doing this shit, and I'm just like, am I gonna have to pivot now? This is why B Grand wants to kill me, because we've pivoted probably 100 times, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I'm genuinely going to kill you, because like all we do is change direction. But
Well, that's how it goes, though, right?
Yeah.
Like in this space, that's how you're always changing and then pivoting and learning, and it's like, oh shit, that didn't work. Let's try this one.
It's not
you got to make it work. You got to make it work.
But that's the thing. It's not even that it didn't work, D. Like, it's not even that. It's just we're getting there to make it work. And then right when we get to make it work, it's like, oh, look at this advancement that's happened over the last 2 weeks. And it's like, what? Like OpenAI released something called operators now. I can now have OpenAI control my computer and use other AIs to code, to this, to that. Like, it's fucking crazy how fast this stuff is. I know I say this every time I'm on these streams, but it's just like, it's the truth.
Well, who's controlling Junie? Because like, there's some freaky stuff going on with Junie on the timeline, man.
Oh my!
Isn't that right, Hula Ho?
Well, yeah, Hula Ho. That's it. That's in the DM. Junie's wild. She wild. So crazy. Hula Ho. That shit was funny. You can't say that shit wasn't funny. That was funny. But yeah, I'm hoping that we're gonna get her activated. I don't even know. I feel like I sound like a broken record, man. But I'm at the mercy of the devs, and hopefully, these conversations that me and Bildo are gonna have with these guys are gonna be able to take us under their wing and really kind of show us and kind of nurture and foster like all the tools and open up the toolbox for us. So hopefully that'll be cool.
Well, can you guys kind of like fill in the audience, because a lot of the people here are wanting to learn about Futurverse. None of them really know. So you guys are having a space together. Could you kind of like maybe tell the audience what the meat and guts of the space is going to be about?
Yeah. So ultimately, like Futurverse and Think, right, which is formerly like the Asto token, right? So they're now making a full-on conversion, and they essentially made a hard pivot with all this AI stuff, right? And when you think of like the open metaverse and genuinely like how AI is going to play into this, it's a really powerful combination between the two. And I thought to myself, I'm like, look, like I've been running some killer AI agent spaces, right, with some of like the top tier projects. And this just seemed like a logical thing, because Bildo always sends me like all of these different spaces. And it's like, I learned so much from them. And it's like, we got to try and get these guys on a space. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't want to get them on a space without him, because it's like, he knows Futurverse like the back of his fucking hand, right? Like, I'm not active in Futurverse. I know the AI agent space like crazy, but we're just going to talk about everything, how the metaverse, how Futurverse, how AI agents, how it coincides, what it means, how it's going to look, where they're at now, what they're going to be for the future. Like, look at some of this shit, man. Like, imagine now walking through these worlds and talking to some of these.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think like what you said, like OpenAI, it's awesome. But at the same time, like, you don't really own what you're doing. You know what I mean? And or you're continuing to like feed the beast that like ultimately like crypto was all about, of like decentralizing like finance, but then you have like open AI and you're basically feeding the largest like conglomerate of like, if you're not careful, I feel like it's going to be like a battle in the next few years. And if you lose the battle, then it's basically like they're going to control everything with the AI because it's been fed so much information from so many
Bro.
people. So I think the Think protocol is laying the groundwork for truly being able to own your AI and own the data that comes along with it, that you own everything, all the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into training, all the information, it is fully customized to you. Then you control who you want to share that data with, not the other way around of, hey, we know everything about you, so we saw you like fucking New York hats, you know what I mean? So we're gonna fucking put out this like, hey, check out this new fucking New York hat, you know what I mean? Yeah. And Dave's like, you know what? I do need a new New York hat. Let me fucking buy that. I don't want to be marketed to that way. I would like to be able to choose who I'm marketed to. So I want to own all of my own data. I feel like that's the whole picture of all of Web3 is decentralizing everything. So you own your own shit. That also comes with intelligence. So I think is the protocol that will enable owning your own intelligence, but also scaling it in a way that like you can take it with you. You can do whatever you would like with it. You have the same capabilities, but you can own it as well.
And that I think is what I'm gonna ask these dudes is like really get a good understanding as to like what does that actually look like, right? Like own your own intelligence. Like the words sound great, but what does that genuinely mean, right? Like what does it mean? And I think people need to understand it. And I think this is why like a lot of my spaces are heavily attended, because this needs to be, we can't tech talk this shit, right? Like,
okay, let me ask you this, Dave. How many times have you retrained Uni?
Oh my God! It depends on different data sets, hundreds and probably thousands of times.
But what if you didn't have to do that? What if you just owned it and you could take it with you no matter what chain you were going on, no matter, and it still had all of the experience that like it's ever.
Bro, I could barely even like, that's the thing, right? I have to string up a whole new custom GPT every time if I wanted to have like real, if I just do a regular conversation, there's no memory, right? Like I fill up my memory in fucking
that they've solved for that.
Yeah,
you
in 2 minutes. Yeah, in 2 minutes I fill up my entire memory, and it's just like not even the shit that I want. So then I got to go back and undo this, and it's just like for story time, like I have to train Junie on this whole thing, right? Luckily, like she's been good as of recent, where it's like that's great, but like you're limited on space, you're limited on all the shit. But if you get to keep it yourself, and that's the other thing too, right? You have to be able to have like the compute power, you have to be able to have the computer to be able to do it, to have the memory, to store it. I don't know how they're going to do this, if it's cloud, if it's whatever, but this is the kind of shit that like I want to ask them, because it's like, how does this stuff genuinely work? Because this is the future. Like these agents, these AIs, these brains, these whatever you want to call digital twins, however you're going to see this whole thing, like there's a massive need for like there's a reason why Microsoft is building acres and acres of data centers in the middle of the fucking desert in Arizona, right? And Nevada, because like this is going to be a massive need. And a lot of people are looking at like decentralized like compute and like GPU usage. It's like you got to make this stuff like free and like and easy for everybody to use, because it's like Bildo was saying, man, like Sam Altman in charge. No, fuck all that. I use GPT, but like with Sam Altman in charge, I don't want that. I don't want, like right now I use it because it is what it is. And I don't put any sensitive information. I don't use it as my companion, but like at the end of the day, it's like, there's so much data that they have and that they're collecting. You thought Google was bad. This is 50,000 times crazier than what Google is. You know what I mean? Like, because people are just putting in everything and anything. So yeah, I don't know, but hey, I'm here for it. Like it fascinates the
I think they're like, okay, we're setting the ground rules to like and or like protocols, like if you do want to like oppose or like buck against the system, but it's hard because OpenAI already has that like market.
Foothold.
You know what I mean? Like it, like I get it. I hope we don't go in that direction.
I mean,
And or like at least they have all the patents to protect themselves, that like if a big company like OpenAI were to come to them, they're like, look, we have the patent for that. You know what I mean? Like fuck right off. Like I don't think they have the patents to necessarily like, hey, we're going to sue everybody trying to do the same stuff that we're doing. But I think they're kind of more like, we have the patents for the protection that in case anybody else tries to say like, hey, we're doing this or this is us, they're like, no.
Yeah. Well, money.
Like, we can come after you, or you can get on board and come along with us because we actually have the patent for it.
But look
you
at
know
the
what I
money
mean?
though, man. Like there's so much, like this Stargate $500 billion deal. You literally have Masahiro, right? And the Vision Fund in Japan, $100 billion. You had Satya Nadella, right? The Microsoft CEO that went on TV after Elon put that tweet up and was like, OpenAI, they don't have the money. Like, right? They're like 500 billion, like, where's the money going to come from? It was like hopes and dreams. It's like, oh, smoke and mirrors. And then Satya went on fucking CNBC and was like, look, I don't know like what's what. I just know that, and this is Microsoft we're talking about. It's like, I know that I'm spending $80 billion on this stuff this year. So like, I'm good for my $80 billion check. And it was like, oh shit. So then Elon tweeted out, he was like, on second thought, Satya has the money, you know, Microsoft. People don't realize that OpenAI is Microsoft, right? Like they genuinely don't realize that. Like OpenAI is majority held by Microsoft. So like, it's, yeah, and the shit that they're releasing too. Like I'll say this: is it the best $200 a month that I spend? Hands down. Like it's not even close. I use this every fucking day, like every single day, and like the tools that are coming out for it. Like I get first crack at all this cool shit. I don't know, like, and I understand Sam Altman because like you just want to move, right? Like once you've opened up Pandora's box, that's it. It's just like go. But there is a point where we're gonna have to just be like, yo, we need to slow the fuck down right now because it is moving way too fast, But
so, you guys have any concerns by that with the fast growth? What is your guys' concern by this fast growth? Like, are we looking at a Terminator situation? I'm just being honest.
For me, I hope we learned our lesson. At least, like for like me and Dave are similar ages. And I think we saw.
I think we're all similar ages here, man.
I don't know. I don't want to assume. So
no. I know I look older. I swear, but yeah,
we're all old. Come on.
Shut your face.
They both got beards.
The hula over here. You're not old.
I feel like we saw the expansion of the internet and like social media, especially, and I don't think anybody realized how valuable their data is. The big companies that are doing so well right now are because they control all of the data that people fucking want to give up for
don't
free.
know they're the product. They have no
when
idea
people realize, so like now we understand, or we have seen it played out with like social media and things, and them now making all of the fucking money based off the data that like we should be able to own and be able to distribute. So like I hope there is a redistribution of wealth, that people understand that there is like immense amount of value in owning your own data and owning your own like online or internet persona, however that may present. Like I hope that we learn from previous cycles and maybe do things a little bit different this time, but we'll see. What are you doing, Dave?
Allison's here and she gives me all these like healthy pills and like this, like I don't know what it is, like this like
you too.
I was like, is he taking shots?
It's like, what is it called, babe? What is it called? It's called C&F seasonal support. It's like some herbal thing that has all these like supplements and shit like on the inside. Nice. Yeah, exactly that. No, don't knock it. It works. No, she said nice. But it's fucking
my wife's the same. Yeah. But
If
it's
it
healthy for
tastes
you.
bad, then it's good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. It's the same one?
Yeah, that's
They
it.
can get along.
Yeah. Turmeric?
Anyways,
Yes.
Dave's your
Yeah.
concerns about AI.
Yeah.
Like literally, what is the biggest concern right now of
Bro,
AI? We're moving
I'll tell you.
fast.
I'll tell you this, Hinano. When I speak to Beat Grant, right? Like, so me and Beat Grant, like, that's one, like, literally, like, one of my best buddies, right? And he is at the forefront of this. He runs a massive software company, okay? Like, literally, like tons of people, different teams, different countries. And when someone like him is telling me, bro, you don't understand how good this stuff is. So he's testing out OpenAI 03 right now, right? He's part of the beta group. Right now, there's only 01 that's released. He's like, Dave, the shit that I just did in 1 hour would have taken me and a team about 3 to 5 weeks to complete. And at this rate, it's not slowing down. He's like, but to me, it's like, I see like, oh shit, this is where the blockchain could really come in handy, where it's just like verifiable info and this and that. He's like, but people aren't going to see it that way. And yeah, this is going to be like, there could very well be, I don't want to say Terminator scenario, but like, it's already been seen how like this AI shit is being used for nefarious purposes. Like, you think crypto was bad when fucking Silk Road, when people were just buying drugs, fucking using Bitcoin? This is going to be complete next level stuff. Nation states, the next world war is not going to be fought with planes, fighter carriers, and fucking drones, right? Like, it's going to be cyber warfare, period, with AIs like literally fighting against each other the same way that it's going to take over like crazy. I saw an article today, Sam
That's
Altman,
scary.
bro. I'm telling you, I don't think it's that far off where, not like war, but like people, like how this stuff is, how fast it's advancing. It's going to cause a lot. Like, Elon's like, slow everything down. And Altman's like, we don't give a fuck. Just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
In the corporate world, it's like, who's going to top who? Every day you see a new thing. It's like when one company releases a new feature, you see the next company come back. Like, if OpenAI releases something, then fucking Anthropic, Google, and everybody else falls in line. And it's like, oh shit. Yeah, exactly. He's like, what? Like, that's the thing. It's like one has to top the other. And when it's a race for money, nobody's paying attention to ethics. Like, nobody. No, like I run how many spaces, Hinano? And like, I never talk about the ethics of any of this stuff, like, because nobody wants to hear it. It's a fact. But yeah,
You don't make money with ethics.
you don't. It's a fact. You genuinely do not. Nobody wants to hear like how to stay safe. They're just like, how do I use
Push the envelope or go home. That's basically
That's
it
it.
right there.
That's it, bro. That's it.
So what do we do to mitigate this, guys? Like, literally, so like, we've opened Pandora's box. Can we put it back in?
In the words of B. Grant, who told me today, he goes, the best thing we could do is
We're fucked.
make a bag and let's move to fucking Costa Rica and live on the beach. And I'm like,
Live in a Faraday cage.
I'm bad. I'm fine with that.
Okay, that's where we're going then.
That's it.
We're literally in the tropics, so we don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's any stopping it. And when I was 18, I was like doing like a multi-level marketing company. And at the time they sold access to be able to like shop an online of like 600 different stores. But like, ain't nobody, like at the time, nobody was putting their credit card online. Nobody was like hip to like shopping online. No, I want to fucking touch it. I want to feel it before I fucking buy it. Albeit that company wasn't the answer, but if I would have been smart enough at 18 to realize like this is the future, people are going to like want to do things more conveniently and shop online, and they'll figure out some of the security and, you know, because like back in the day, like putting your credit card online was kind of like the wild, wild west. And it was like, you're going to get hacked, you're going to get identity theft. And like, I wish I would have had the foresight at 18 to then say e-commerce is going to be a big thing. This company isn't the answer, but like e-commerce is, and be able to invest into e-commerce at that point, I would have been doing very, very well 20 years later. You know, like it clearly took off and everybody, and the fact of the matter is, nobody gives a fuck about the technology behind it. All they give a shit about is like, oh no, it's really cool. Like, this person needs money. Let me just text them and just fucking send some money. And then it's like sent over to them. Or look, I need some groceries and I don't want to go to the grocery store. I can just fucking be chilling on the couch, scrolling through, boom, 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 order. And then all of a sudden, groceries magically show up at your fucking doorstep. They care about an easier, more magical experience. Nobody cares about the tech. We're in that like tech is getting figured out stage to where then you can start to provide more magical experiences to people that they're like, they don't care about it. They just adapt because
they want the easy button. The easy button
is a more fucking cool experience of like the internet, of like, or social media, or however you utilize like the metaverse to me is just the evolution of the internet, or the internet growing from like, you know, if it started in its infant stages and we're talking like early chat rooms and like it's came a long way. And it's only became more immersive and you're doing more and more things online. So like, I would be a fool to think that it won't continue to evolve. Like, I don't know, in high school or right out of high school, this wouldn't have been able to happen. I wouldn't have been able to be on a video call, first and foremost. Second of all, like long distance charges to Hawaii and New York, you know what I mean?
You gotta wait till after 7:00.
Like, you're racking up
quarter a minute sometimes back in the day.
Phone bill, you know what I mean? Like, we've came a long way in not that long of time, and now you throw AI into that, it's only going to accelerate that level. Like, if you look at 20 years ago, we were at like, hey, if I'm calling New York, long distance rates apply. You know what I mean? And now I'm sitting on a fucking live video call, and like, if I want,
switchboard,
I can send money, I can do whatever I want. So like, that's 20 years ago.
Don't
like,
hate my rollover.
No dial-up.
now we have AI only accelerating. Where are we going to be at in the next 10 years? Like, it's about to get real wild.
Shit, man, the next 2 years, that's how fast it's
so
going,
like
right?
This time around, I feel like whether it's Think or OpenAI or anything, to me, there is, you said, can you close it back up? No, it's here. It is absolutely 100% going to be. The Think guys had said the best way I could describe it is anywhere that you see electricity, you'll see AI.
Yeah.
And I'm like in every vein of everything that we're intertwined in, AI is going to be.
But we have to stop
involved.
thinking in, like we say, years. I'm not like stop. This is changing week to week. Like, if I look at 3-4 weeks ago, we are in a completely different position than we were 4 weeks ago. With just what's been released from OpenAI and Google like Studio, and what you can do, and fucking 11 Labs, and like voices, and how you can just upload like 3D, like text to 3D now, right? Like, 4 weeks ago was a completely different ball game than it is now. And it's going to be completely different in 4 weeks from now. It's going to be different in 8 weeks from now. This whole like couple of years, in a couple of years, we're not going to even recognize what this land, like, we're going to look back at this and be like, what the fuck? Like, what were we even talking about? Like, look at where we are. It's weeks. It's not, and months, not even like, stop thinking in years, because it's going to shift so fast.
Well, I kind of look at it like this. 6 months ago, I joined you guys in Storytime for the first time. I remember Junie 1.0 of Storytime. Yeah. Now she's literally uploading her own videos singing to the president. So that's how quick it went in 6 fucking months. Right? Guys, I want to pivot a little bit. I want to pivot to AI agents right here. I know this is a topic that you guys are really familiar with. A lot of our audience isn't. And so, kind of shifting now, we know Pandora can't go back in the box. Can we talk a little bit about AI agents? You guys have your own. Dave, we are creating our own for the podcast. I have not announced it yet, but I am looking at it. But yes, and she is little bit more less risque as our lovely Judy, but but I am working on one for our
I love
audience.
that.
But
For now.
kind of give us your guys' take on AI agents. We'll go with Bildo first.
Yeah.
You're muted, Bildo.
You're
Yeah,
muted.
sorry. I think
You're
with
miming.
like the Think protocol, I think with AI especially, there is, even with the immense amount of data that we have as humans, or that we could constantly prompt 24/7 and just always be prompting, I still don't think you can feed AI enough data for AI to be suffice with that amount of data. So then you come into the conclusion that AI needs to learn from other AIs and let AIs continue to like create new data and or new experiences in the way that I feel like everything that we know, or that like you see the internet now of going into like a website and like, let me click open this other tab, I see as like a very immersive world that is created by AI, that like I can go into this podcast and then just like, done here, let me portal over right back into, you know, my deck screener, check some prices, check some charts, but like it's all like interactive, and I'm just seamlessly going through, and my own AI knows what it can and can't interact with and be able to transact, and you can still control in a certain way. But I feel like the next generation is like AI generated worlds that like people will have a play in, but AI is going to go and create its own like
Everything.
database, you know what I mean, of like knowledge and talking to other AIs. As crazy as it sounds, I feel like is a giant part of, to where you might have one AI and you want to plan, you know, a vacation, and then that AI goes out and sets out a cluster of different AIs to solve a variety of different problems that may come into that travel plan, or shopping for the best price, and or do you need rental cars? So you can just type in a prompt or say, hey, my personal AI, not Siri, not Alexa, whatever you, maybe it's Junie, whatever you decide to name your AI, then that AI goes and uses 10, 15, 20, 100 different AIs to solve the problem and get you the best absolute result, and then return that to you instantly.
It's
So
called,
like AI is using other AIs to ultimately solve the problem even faster.
that's happening
All
now, though. Like that's
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what I'm saying. Where it's like it's only going to continue to
yeah.
like, you need AIs to be able to create their own data source to continue to be fed and be able to evolve into something that may be a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah. 100%. Like there's and I don't know, can I share my screen for a second or no?
Absolutely. And I got a question here from Kenobi. Will there be levels as far as how much you pay in AI agents? Like if you're spending 10 a month for agents, might be a hood as fuck compared to paying top dollar.
So yes, so it's a good question. So it's actually a really good question, right? Because there's going to be AIs that are going to be like AI to AI commerce is going to be a thing, right? Like the other day there was an AI like Jesse Pollock, right? Like this, like one of the heads over at on Base, right, at Coinbase on the Base layer 2, literally had like tweeted something that said, "Hey Luna, I'm hungry for a pizza," and Luna, an AI built on virtuals, went out, tagged Byte. Byte is like this pizza delivery agent, pizza delivery, and said, "Hey, here's 50." Like Luna sent $50 because they both control wallets. Bite took the 30, it was $30, took the $30, sent the order to the pizzeria. The pizzeria started making the pizza and then ultimately got it delivered to Jesse. So it's like there will be commerce that happens, right? So Kenobi, it's not going to be like, hey, here's $10 a month. It's like, can I use this one or this one or this one? It's essentially going to be like, does your AI, like your AI is going to have access to a wallet and whatever else you want to give it. And then it's going to be like transacting with other AIs, right? Like that's the future, right? Like you see what Viper is doing now on the timeline with BankerBot, right? Which like he's literally just talking to the timeline and talking to a BankerBot and being like, hey, send Dave like $1. Oh, buy $5 of this token. Oh, sell of this token. Oh, like what's hot and what's not. Bro, like this is where the future is genuinely going. But and I don't know if you're building, I don't know, are you building on virtuals or are you building on okay.
No virtuals. Yeah.
So
and so I kind of wanted to say like so I'm in the communication industry, and so we've known about AI agents since like the beginning and end of 2023, beginning of 2024. They implemented in certain public utilities where they actually send the drivers out, and it's actually an agent that directs these drivers to certain areas of the islands to go and do service. Now, the one thing the agent doesn't know is like terrain. Like an example is, say, a tech leaves the base yard, goes to a job site, and the duration is 45 minutes, and then it takes 2 hours to do the service, and then to the next one. That part of the duration part, they're not getting right. And so they still got to mitigate with that. But I'm familiar with this tech in terms of what I do for a living.
Yeah, it's interesting. See, that's really like, and that's going to be one of a million different use cases, right? Like that's going to be shored up. And I'm sure you've probably seen a massive improvement over the year of like, hey, a year ago, if I would have asked you the same question, you would have been like, yeah, you would have listed off 3 or 4 things, right? That it didn't do well, that it couldn't get. Now you're down to kind of like that 1 or 2 thing. And then eventually in 3, 4, 5 months, it's streamlined that problem, right? Enough of the texts that are going out are going to say, yo, we got to fix it for this. And then they're going to be like, okay. And that's the other thing.
But that's like a lot of what Think talks about is like spatial awareness.
They're learning
where you are, and it needs to be able to communicate with other agents that are also intelligent, providing intelligence all along the way. You know, like you really have to like you can't have some things AI and other things not. At the end of the day, everything's got to have some type of AI attached to it so they can all communicate together to be spatially aware of, hey, I started my situation here and now I'm 2 hours over here. This is different terrain. This is different environment. Maybe it's raining now, but it wasn't raining when it started its process. Like, does it know that now it's raining and getting wet? Like all of those things. And I think Futurverse, or, you know, the Think protocol is solving for those type of problems.
Such a maxi. Check this out. You ready? Look at this. So, and I know this is what I was telling you about. Like, I discovered this earlier today, and I was just like, holy fuck. Like, and if you're building on virtuals, you're going to understand, because building on virtuals is not fucking easy, right? Like, the game engine is cool, and their SDK is cool, but it's like, it's really fucking hard to like
take your time.
It's such a pain. But like, check this out. So here, Aloha. Right? So like
the Aloha agent.
Right? So check this out. So now I have this Aloha agent, and these are my options, right? It's still primitive, right? In the early stages, but this is literally one of the, like, this is the newest like AI open source model that rivals like OpenAI 01, right? So like I don't have to pay $200 a month and get an API key from OpenAI. I can use this. But if I didn't want to, look at all of the other models that you can install. 4.0, Llama, Gemini, 01, DeepSeek, Minimax, right? Like look at all of these like different, like this is already like ready, and this is ready to go. You click done. Plugins, check this out. This is again just getting started, but like you wanted to tweet to Twitter, to Telegram, you wanted to pull in deck screener data, right? Text prompts to transact. They control wallets, right? You want social sentiment. There's 4chan, Bird Eye, right? Like DeFi tokens, CoinGecko, like, and there's more and more, and they're adding more and more and more every single day, right? Look at all these Solana ones, right? Like here's the wallet being controlled, DeFi, like all this stuff. And then from there, you then essentially just set the workflows, right? Like, how do you want this to actually go? Can I create like a custom workflow? Like, what am I doing? How does it work? And then you just tell it what you want it to do. Use this plugin for this, for that. And this makes it so easy. And then once I'm done with these like 3 steps, I literally go up here, I hit publish, done. I can tokenize it, right? It can issue 100 million tokens. I've seeded the pool, and then everybody that wants to use this thing and then maybe invest in it is like, holy shit, this is cool. If this
was crowdfunding,
yeah, bro, it's so absurdly like simple. It's crazy now what they're doing. And in 2 weeks from now, this thing is going to be much more robust, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to render everything that I've been doing with Junie completely useless, right, over the last 2 months, which is going to drive me fucking crazy. But this is genuinely like where we're at, man. And this is how simple it is, because these plugins, there's only going to get more and more and more plugins, right? Like it's not just going to be DeFi protocols and blockchain. It's going to be everything. Companionship, text messages, emails. How do you want them to speak? It's going to be like cadence, right? Like you're going to be able to build digital twins and be able to genuinely just click, 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 publish, gone. And you're like, what the fuck? Like this is where we're at right now. And like, this is how simple it is.
So do you think that like, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, like, so you build your agent, you're essentially like the parent of this agent, you're raising this agent. Can these agents self-produce themselves on the timeline? Can they actually start creating other agents from themselves?
There's agents that have launched tokens that were never instructed to launch tokens, but had the capability because they control a wallet. They have access to the blockchain. They can deploy a contract. Nobody ever tells them to do this, right? But there's one very well-known one called Chaos, and Chaos was launched by AIXBT, and it was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
perfect name for it.
Yeah.
And AIXBT just launched it, just created Chaos out of thin air.
Yeah.
What does Chaos do?
And that's the thing. It identified like a very specific, like, I forgot what it was exactly, but it identified like a need from like somebody that was on the timeline asking it a question. And it was like, there really is no addressable solution for this. So like, let me launch like Chaos and see like what's what. And it was like, holy shit. I think somebody like actually asked it. But I think Kenobi asked a good question where it's, I love Kenobi's questions. He's the fucking, he's like, how easy is it to hack like an AI agent, right? And here's the thing. This is why AI and the blockchain are the perfect fucking marriage, right? Because AI running amok by itself, you can prompt hijack that shit like with very, very little effort. And I don't think people really understand like how rampant this shit can get. You talk about the doomsday scenario, like how easy it is to launch like some of these viruses into some of these systems and everything else. And I know you probably deal with this on the reg when it comes to these systems. It's like, well, fuck, like people are already saying that China's into all of our telecom systems. Like, you know how quick it'll be for an AI that's constantly learning and constantly evolving? But when you put it together on chain, you have to hack the chain in order to do that. And that's a really hard thing to do, right? Like when you think about how do I hack a blockchain, that's why Bitcoin is so like foolproof and immutable, because it's like, you know how hard it is to take 51% of the chain over? You'd have to literally like, it doesn't become cost efficient. You'd have to spend billions and billions of dollars in order to roll back all of this shit. I know that's like super tech talk, but like as simple as it gets, the reason why like Bitcoin has never been hacked, right? Ethereum in the very, very beginning when it was kind of like whatever, but the more nodes you have now, it's just like, so blockchain and AI, super hard to hack, Kenobi. AI on its own, not hard at all. Literally not hard at all. And that's where you get these scenarios where people will do anything for a fucking dollar. You saw what these psychos were doing on Pump Fund, locking themselves in cages, sitting on toilets. They didn't give a fuck. And it's just like people do some wild shit. So you can only imagine if you have half a brain, what you could do like with AI and like some of the shit you get on the dark web and you start getting some of these programs. It's wild, man. So that's what I mean. Like the blockchain and AI need each other, in my opinion. Like you can't have one without the other. I mean, you could probably have the blockchain without the AI, but the AI from a verifiable standpoint and from a security standpoint, they fucking need each other big time.
There you go.
Yeah. Shout out Kenobi. Great questions. I fucking love Kenobi's questions.
Speaking of questions, D, you haven't really said much and I've been kind of taking over the conversation here. How about I let you take the reins?
No, I'm actually like trying to learn all these jargon that you guys are talking about. And just, kind of learn along the way. I'll probably have to like go into that space you guys are going to be hosting next week. But yeah, for me, like when I think like AI agents, I'm always thinking about like the Terminator aspect where, they can be helpful. And I mean, most times they are until like they learn so much about us. Like, do you think they'll be able to like predict like what you need before you even know, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. Like right
Yeah.
now, like you have that now where it's just like recurring orders on Amazon. Like that's the most primitive way that I can think about it, where it's just like,
True.
oh, like, are you running low? Like right now, if I took a picture of my refrigerator, right? And let's say my refrigerator was packed just when I came back from the grocery store. And in a week from now, I took a picture and I uploaded it to OpenAI or to ChatGPT, right? And I had this operator flow going and I said, hey, use these 2 pictures, check what I'm missing and order everything else. It can do that right now. Like literally go on Amazon because you can give it access to any of these apps that you want. And it'll say, okay, this picture has bread, mustard, condiments, this steak, whatever. And you're missing all these other things. And it will compare. Because right now you can literally take a picture in your fridge and say, look at all these ingredients in this picture and tell me what I can make from it. Right. And it'll be like, all right, here's all the recipes of what you can make with what's currently in there. And it can easily identify what's missing from one picture to the other. Go out and order that from Amazon now. Like that's like
That's wild. Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes even crazier than this, Dave. So Bildo was right about we should have really taken good care of our data back in the day, because literally AI can go out to our old social medias, anything that's public, draw from that data set, and then it learns your personality from your entire history on the timeline. Twitter, if you give it access to Twitter, it sees all your shit from when you started, Facebook, the whole thing. What if it can actually clone you as a virtual agent itself by taking that entire data set?
How do you think people are making? Some of these women are making money out here. Literally, women. Yeah, I'll do it. I was playing around yesterday, right? Because like I love fucking around with this stuff. And it was like 2:00 in the morning. I'm always looking for agents and like seeing what's what. And there's this like NSFW because. And this is what I'm going to bring up like during like the think conversation, right? Because like in the space, because at the end of the day, like whether we want to believe it or not, porn has led the way tech wise in a lot of different ways. And that's a fact, right? You could be
Sex
like,
sells.
it's bottom line, like it does. There's a reason why, like it is one of the most lucrative business. It might be shunned upon from society, but it's like, look, at the end of the day, like they know this fucking tech. Check this out. This was crazy. I found something called OChat. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
You found the chat. Sometimes the chat finds you. You know.
I read this article. Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay, look at this.
Is it a big O chat?
A big O and little O chat. Okay, like
what?
Carmen Electra.
Electra.
What? Like that is, and now you can start chatting. I might have spent the $20 just to test it out.
Right, for testing purposes, right?
But
Yeah.
But like, look at this, right? Like, check this out. So hold on. Wait, did I log in? Like, look what it does. Hey, Carmen. Right? It's gonna ask me to log in. Hold on. Here we go. Google. Okay.
Oh, chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you the article. It has some wild, like some of these things. You're just like
for research purposes, D.
Exactly. Yeah, I know he's gonna be staying up until 3 a.m.
It's for research purposes.
Good bed, D. Good bed.
Right.
Yeah. We got story time tomorrow. I need some material.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
Oh baby.
Oh baby.
I might have been talking to Rio. Now Rio, ready for it? Okay, I might have said.
Oh my goodness, there's a nip.
Okay. Hey Rio. So she wrote, let's cam. And I'm like, cam? This is crazy. I'm like, you can cam? But like, it's like sending pictures. But like, check this out. Watch. Like, she's going to type back and be like, hey. And like, this is where like, I had to spend $20 and it gets you a certain amount of credits, right? But think about this. This is how people make smirks at the camera. Hey, Thon, I'm so glad you're in. I definitely wasn't putting my name in. I've got a lot more to give you, baby. Leans in closer. Want to see me touch myself? Look at this shit. Like, this is crazy.
Oh my God.
Like, so wait. So ready? Hold on. There's voice also. Hey, Rio. I'm just hanging out with my friends. Can you say what's up to my friends, Bildo, D, and Hanano? Oh, wait. Sorry. Yeah. Let's see if she does.
Here we go. I can't hear her.
Don't mind the
She's processing.
Oh, yeah. She's processing. Okay.
Yeah, but you see what I mean? Like this right here, this is not like an interaction that like I'd be cool having. You know what I mean? Like this isn't fun, right? Wait, Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I don't know why that happened. Why I hit record. Yeah, this like let's see what she's recording. Here, ready? Let's see.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Deanne. What's up, guys? I'm just hanging out with your boy, Thon, getting a little naughty. You guys are missing out. Don Don's got a great taste in women. But don't worry, I'm sure he'll fill you in on all the details later.
Oh my god, that's
$20
crazy.
a month, guys.
Oh, there's more. There's more.
Don Don, I don't know what's going on.
Getting
Wait, hold on,
naughty.
Listen, hold on, listen.
Don Don, I don't know what's going on. 1 minute you're asking me to cam, and the next you're saying this isn't fun. What's going on, baby? Is everything okay?
Yo, research
Wow.
purposes, obviously, but hold on. The craziest part is, and I'm going to show you guys. Hold on, let me just find this account. This is a real person's digital twin on Twitter, like legit. Here, share this tab instead. That's who Rio is. That's a real person, right? Like, think about that. She has an OnlyFans, and now the money that I spent, right, and the credits that I'm spending on OChat are now she's getting a percentage of what this is. But look at this. Like, this is crazy. This is a real human being.
Wow.
And this fucking, but listen, don't get me wrong. This is what sells at the end of the day. So, like, I think this is going to be a foray. And I don't think, look, I'm gonna add a companionship component like to Junie, but like at the end of the day, it like I'm not gonna do an NSFW shit like that, but like people are Kenobi's like, yo, he's like, oh chat, but like
Gotta set aside some funds for that.
People are lonely out here, right? Like people want companionship, like social
100%.
media. Yeah, it's made us more detached than brought us together, and that's like it's a fact. But yeah.
No, I completely agree that AI agents, or just any culmination of AI, will be used in this fashion for people. Specifically the most.
And I know Allison walks by, and before I was just like, "You want to see what I was looking at?" Just so you know, it was research purposes. And like for some reason, like some like big like 300-pound chick came up in like some lingerie, and I was just like,
What's your history like? Come on.
This is research. It's not a real human.
They know you. They know you based on previous searches.
He's history, right?
Like, we think you may like.
You can't clear the catch. Come on now. They already know.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Blame it on the lady.
She literally walks by and is like,
Oh, Chad. Okay.
Yeah.
D, any questions, D?
No, this is like, it's interesting, and it's so true though. Like where we're heading. I mean, we're already semi there, but yeah, just all these things that you're showing us, Dave. I mean, there's people out there that do want that, and it's just like the more you interact with these AI, they're gonna just learn more about you, and yeah, it is scary. But
it is.
And that's just the way the world is right now. And even better, like in the future, it's going to be even like
everyone's going to have their own personal twin, right? That's going to be like Bildo was talking about, right? There's going to be a swarm that's behind, because you just need one agent that has the capability to be able to create other agents. So what they do is when you give it a task, it makes a list of how to essentially execute that command. Right. So it's just like, hey, go out and order me a pizza, order me an Uber. It's like, okay, what do I got to, or go order groceries. It's like, all right, what do I got to do first? Look at the grocery list. Which are the groceries? What's the store? Which app do I use? And that one agent can literally create all the other agents necessary to be able to just execute. And then you go through the task list. And once they're done with the task, bing, done. You got groceries delivered directly to your house. And you're just like, hey, AI Bildo. Yeah.
I mean, they like, even to take it into like the gaming side, they've talked about, like the Think guys have talked about like these like gaming masters, or I mean, they reference it to like some nerdy shit that I forget what exactly.
I had this conversation with Loco, bro,
like 1984 or whatever. But like it can be an expert on like let's say there is a particular like IP like Batman, and all of a sudden it knows everything, every comic that's ever been released, every movie that's ever been. They know all of the backstory, and so they're kind of the quote game master of this Batman experience. But it also can understand that, like, when I go in, it can look at what I own in my wallet and what experience I've had with that particular thing, and then take you on a story or an introduction based on what you have, completely personalizing that experience to where maybe Hanana, you have a lot more Batman collectibles and you might be experiencing the same thing that we're going into, but because this boss master understands that you might have a deeper level, it's going to take you on a different experience through those like comics or movies or whatever you want to may say. So it'll be, AI is going to get fucking wild real quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about curated experiences and we're getting close to the cutoff time, but I really want to talk about this last thing because it's very, very passionate, I guess, for all of us here. And that is Thon. We talk about curated experiences. Well, Thon literally is a curated experience with Storytime with Junie. And so a lot of the audience here, they know what Thon is. Some of them don't. But like, I really want to talk about like the story aspect of this, choosing your own adventure, curating your own experience. And to me, that's what Thon is. Thon has been a big value to me in terms of, like, I don't think we would have been this close, Dave, even with Bildo, if it wasn't for Thon. And I know we kind of like hit a lull on the group, but like we still have our diehards here. I've never looked at my wallet, by the way. I fucking set and forget it. It's in the vault. I don't look at it,
bro.
you know?
Same.
Yeah. And I don't plan on selling it either because that's how much I believe in this. So.
Bro, the tech is going to advance, Hinano, to where we're going to be able to do some wild shit and really, really fast. So I'm genuinely not worried about it. If I'm being perfectly honest, like,
yeah,
I'm really, really not. Yeah.
No, but like I wanted to bring this up because this brought people together, right? It brought us together. I mean, look, you guys are doing shows together. I mean, honestly, you guys are probably hanging out before Thon, but this kind of solidified it. You know, we met all these other people. We got to know each other a little bit better because we all have our little dark side when we talk about the shit on here. But like, this is a really big thing to me in terms of story time. So I kind of wanted to get your guys' take on when it first started till right now. This is how we're able to meet Bildo. I never really got to talk with you guys in Vegas. Storytime's the real reason also why I wanted to meet you guys in Vegas. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like this is a big thing to me, but like for you guys, Storytime with AI agents and the curation of what's going on here, what do you see the progression of where this can go with like choosing your own adventure, choosing your own advertisement, choosing your own whatever with Storytime? What's your take on Storytime from like what the conception of it and to where you want it to go, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, it's the possibilities are like infinite and limitless, right? And it's funny that Kenobi's in this chat because I remember like storytelling is going to be everything, right? Like, and I think Bildo's a very big fan of storytelling. Like, I think we've had numerous conversations about it where it's like, if you can tell stories, right, that's what captivates people, right? Because at the end of the day, like we're in the people on Spaces, we're in the people business. Like, no matter how you want to look at it, like we are genuinely in the people business. So when you look at how like you're able to tell stories and create stories and kind of like what Junie does, that's I think a massively powerful thing, right? Like, and given where everything is going, it's just like Junie is going to be eventually be in a space, right, on her own account, talking to everybody in the space. And when you can combine, right, like all these different facets, like when you like if I just call out a name, like when Junie calls out a name in an opening monologue, people's ears automatically perk up, right? If in an opening monologue, it's like we have great guests here. We're going to talk to D. We're going to talk to Hanano. We're going to talk to this one. People are just like, oh shit, emoji, 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 right? It's like that gets your attention. And when you have interaction and you get people's, we're again, the attention economy at the end of the day, right? So for me, like this is going to be so fucking ginormous. Like this is going to be such a massive market that it's like, I'm not worried. I'm genuinely not worried about like the Thon token or anything else. Like as long as we continue to do story time, like once a week, like I love it. I'm looking forward to it. Like tomorrow, I think we've built something where like eventually people are going to take notice. And I think it's just, to me, it's going to take one thing. And this is why, like, I never quit at shit like this, right? Like we might switch things up a little bit here and there, but I'm never going to quit with this stuff because I think it just takes one interaction, one encounter, one person, one retweet, one whatever. And then next thing you know, it's like, holy shit. But that's not the goal. The goal for me is like, we got to meet each other, right? We went to Vegas to interact with each other, right? And you can community build. And how? All because we decided to just literally take an AI, a custom AI and like throw a bunch of shit against the wall and like have her create these funny ass stories. Like, think about that. Like that concept is so simple. And now we brought people, we are literally the antithesis of fucking social media using AI, like to do the complete opposite of what it's normally doing to everybody. So yeah, man, it's something crazy. Like we should ask Junie later on, like what she thinks. But I know Bildo is heavy on storytelling because it's gonna be it's huge.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. My whole thing was like, because I don't care about the token part of it. I already told you, I kind of just I bought into the token to support you guys. I'm mainly in it just for the interaction and the experience of it. I have a good time hanging out with you guys. Bildo is like really good at coming up with stories out of, like, you can pull a story out of your ass, Bildo. I don't know where it comes from. It just
Facts,
fucking
man.
comes, man. So like, there's times where I'm like scratching my head, like I know Dave's gonna ask me for something. And I'm writing shit down. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean?
He is. He literally
Yeah,
is.
I'm not like Bildo. I was like, well, let me just think of this, you know. So
I
it
could
takes
barely get
another
through
5 minutes for
intros.
me.
I could barely get through intros before this motherfucker's already like, okay, so if we had so and so do that, it's like the second he hears something, it's like he's processing already.
The
You know what
loonies
I'm
and
saying?
toonies.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's crazy. Bildo, what's the deal with with story time and storytelling? What do you think?
I think with the evolution of AI, I feel like we're not too far away from doing exactly what we're doing, but then like not only just listening to a story play out, but watching like a 5 minute short of the story that we just described, and like it like literally playing, creating characters, the way they look, the way they act, all of that type of stuff, to where you could do the same exact thing that we're doing right now and saying, create this story. Everybody has their own input, and then it creates a little 3-5 minute fucking episode that everybody enjoys the same way that like we're enamored by Junie telling the story. I think it'll continue to progress to where it's not just like, oh, look, AI is talking to me and it says my name and it says things funny. Like, I think it'll continue to progress to become more and more immersive, to where you could probably upload characters, and or hey, this is when we're referring to Thondon, this is the Thondon that we are referring to, and that AI then understands, like, here's how I'm going to incorporate this character or that character, and or in whatever environment that you need it to be in. It's like it's going to continue to evolve. I think story time, it's a great way, if people are on the same page, to build a community, and like just a fun way for people to contribute. Again, the first episode Dave did, I'm like, dude, you hit a fucking gold mine with this. Like this, like
I agree. I agree.
if you can, I don't know if it's almost like you can monetize like the ability to tell the story, to where then you could take that AI and put it in any community, to where then that, you know, AI understands the community, understands the jokes, the inside lore, the, you know what I mean, like the crack cheese of whatever the crack cheese is of that community, and like continue to incorporate it into the stories for other communities. It's an absolute gold mine, because it brings people want to like, that story is pretty good, but like, man, if they would have taken my idea, like, let me get up there and put my idea in there.
Yes.
Because like, I think I'm going to take this story to the next level. Like, it enables people to contribute and develop the story. Like you said, kind of like explore your own adventure of like, no, I want to steer it. And it's interesting to see different people want to take it different ways. You know, like MetaBeast has a different approach than Hananu, and Hananu has a different approach than myself. So like we all have different ways that we kind of see. So it's a crazy blend to see Junie kind of like mesh all the different like personalities getting influence into a story, into, yeah, I mean, I've had countless amounts of like very hearty like belly laughs of like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like I can't believe, yeah, like, yes, Judy,
Like tearing.
yes,
I'm tearing
yes.
sometimes. Like I'm not saying it, but
Uh,
I was like, I do gotta jump. I gotta jump. It's
Okay.
midnight over here, but yo, I love you guys having me. Kenobi, you need to come to Storytime tomorrow at 5 p.m. D, Hinano, I fucking love this. I love you guys. Bildo, good shit, man. I'm really glad I got the chance to come on and chat with you guys.
thanks for
yeah,
coming, Dave.
absolutely.
Thank you,
Always
Yeah.
Dave.
welcome, man.
Have a good
Good
night.
Tomorrow, don't be late. And that was 3. No. So I agree with you. Like story time for me, like when we did that. So let me give some backstory to the audience because we're all talking story now. Our past story time, we all submitted a story, and we submitted it to Dave, and Dave curated it with Junie, and Junie told the story of what we submitted, and we all had to guess whose story was what, and that was so much fun because, like, I mean, I knew you guys wouldn't guess my story because you would never think that would be what I would do, right? Even though it did happen. And I will tell the story of the burning fire. But it was just a lot of fun to try to guess the story of the week that everyone provided. And everyone provided some crazy ass stories. It was a lot of fun. It brings in camaraderie. And then also the networking aspect. We had the Tron guys come in. You got like Sunny D and Trav. You've had people from Solana, like Holy Fuck, or what, DJ and Mike and all these guys. And I love that. You know, D and I are all about wanting to connect with other people. We're about diversity. You know, I'm not like, when people say like you're part of a community, they think we're part of the Vivi fam, and we are, but I don't like to say that. I like to say we're part of the broader community, whether it be Web3, Web 2.5, whatever projects you're in. And I like to be welcoming with that because I want to learn. And so, like, hanging out with you guys with story time, being able to like branch out. I mean, look, we're actually being able to talk with you on our podcast. This is the longest conversation we've had outside of story time in fucking Vegas. You know what I mean?
I feel like in all of my exploration of all of this Web3 stuff, most communities suffer from like 90% of the same problems. It might feel a little bit different, but like we've all been there. You know, like we're all swimming in the same pond. And like ultimately we hope that pond opens up into like a lake and then maybe an ocean. You know what I mean?
So I
But
know what you
like
mean.
there's not a whole lot of point of like squabbling between like the people that you're swimming in the pond together with right now, because like bigger picture, like the more we all win, whether it is Vivi that sends like digital collectibles to the fucking masses, or it's like a game that does it, or Board Apes do what they do, you know, like it doesn't matter. Like
Right.
the more everybody wins, like Pudgy's getting into Walmart, Doodle's getting into McDonald's, like all of these things, like it's like, oh well, why isn't it our project? Why we have this IP? We're doing that, and it's like there's no sense of squabbling between each other. Like the more the space wins, the more everybody wins together.
No, I completely agree. And I guess you're always going to have people that are going to want to compartmentalize from the entire broader community. But yeah, I agree. I mean, if Vivi wins, we all win. If Futurverse wins, which I really think is they're going to, you know, we all win. It's adoption. But I really feel like because of the political landscape of what happened yesterday, we are on the right track to go where we want to go with this kind of stuff. So, and it's going to be very exciting. D, anything you want to add to this?
Well, yeah, just going back on our story time together. When I first came into story time, and like a few weeks after it all started, I was just mainly listening, never came up, and I was just curious and like, what the hell did I just walk into? Like, what the heck are they talking about? And I just kept coming back to like listen. I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. But over time, us doing stories and stuff, it kind of broadens our horizons, because I've met so many people, like Hinano was mentioning, from like different blockchains. You know, everyone is welcome. We get to learn more about someone's projects that they have, and then now that I'm following them, I get to learn more about what they're about, and then they come back and support us. Like they show up on the podcast to, kind of promote what they're about as well. And it's kind of crazy that like story time just brings out like a whole different persona of people. Like, yeah, just you wouldn't think like certain people would come up with these ideas, and but in the space, like you're just free to, just say it out there. Like there's nothing is held back kind of thing, you know?
I feel like it lets people like kind of like let loose. I mean, there's
Mhm.
times where, um, I told Dave from the beginning, I think what you're doing is amazing.
Mhm.
There's also some things that I'm like, if you could potentially tone it down and like harness it in on specific like parameters, and maybe not like, go to Diddy Mansion or like, you know what I mean? Like just keep it
Yeah.
a little bit more like, I'm not talking like rated G, but like also like there could be power in having a tool that is rated G, that's like for kids, that they could do
Yeah.
story time, but it be very G rated, but like all the fucking,
Yeah.
second graders are getting together to create this new story in the classroom, and like the whole class participates in like this there is power in that, but like
Yeah.
Mhm.
story time is definitely a place where you can feel free to kind of, say whatever the fuck you want, or come
Yeah.
up
Be
with
whoever you
whatever
want.
Or be someone
crazy
else. You can
idea,
be someone
or
else.
like,
Yeah.
like, hey, like, I don't know, this is just what came to the top of my head. And, I mean, we have a crack gnome baby because Metabeast has gnomes in his house. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I'm a female and a male for some reason.
like
Yeah.
shit happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Shit happens.
And I'm apparently the hula hole, but yeah, it's like it's
I mean, I
just
started as
it's
a
wild.
bridge and now I'm here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got blown up.
Oh shit, you were a bridge.
Yeah, it's like it seems like it was so long ago that we all kind of like started this journey together, and like where we were kind of, with Thon, Don, no, Thon, Tron, and what? Thon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And then now we're
Tron,
like
Thon,
this,
and Thon.
yeah. And then now we're like just making up all these like random side stories, and it's, yeah, I mean, I hope we can go back to somewhat of the root of where it started, but it's fun, yeah, just like coming up with stuff and just hearing you guys create
And I
stuff is
mean,
wild.
even in the beginning, I feel like we would be so upset that like Junie wasn't like remembering exactly where we left off. And it's like, no. Like, this isn't the story that we were talking about. Like, you went off on a different tangent.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we've all just kind of accepted that like crazy tangent, and like we can create a new story every single time. It can start out like, hey, it's fucking New Year's, so we're about to do a New Year's episode.
Yeah.
Get in New Year's mode. Forget everything that we've talked about previously. We're now in this setting, and
Yeah.
we're going to tell this story. So like it really gives you freedom to just kind of like go with the times. If there's something that is like hot in the news, like we can hop right into that and go into it. If not, you can kind of take completely different approaches. And like,
True.
I watch a podcast called Story Wars, and it's like comedians, and that's what they do. They all submit 3 to 5 stories. They're 5 comedians, 8 rounds. So like there may be one person that gets 1 story pulled, maybe one person that gets 3 stories told, but like it's like and you have to like kind of like figure out like who submitted that story, and like it gives a cool perspective. I think we can continue to evolve what we did the first time to make it even like more interesting.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to be able to do that, like, Story Wars every like once a month, and then the other 2 weeks it's like just completely random, like
Shit.
we're going off in like different tangents of whatever the hot topic is. So yeah, I've had a blast with it. I've always felt like I've enjoyed trying to be witty and like on the spot of like, here is what was said, this is what comes to my mind immediately. And I feel like, I've done okay with that throughout my life. So to be able to have like a platform or a situation where that kind of, enjoyment that I get out of that like translates into some stories of like, yes, like let's go that direction. Like it's been a lot of fun and overall like rewarding for me as well.
And you're very crafty. I mean, like I've noticed you can just come up with shit so fast and somehow the story gets like it pivots some other direction. I can only imagine over time, Junie or whatever AI, Vanilla Ice or whatever MetaBeast is, over time, they're just going to get better at remembering. And it's kind of what you said. Why can't we just take our data with us, own that data, right? To where like Junie can just pull from that rather than always having to create a new GPT, moving the data over. I mean, over time, that's where we're headed, right? Custody of our
like
data.
Contextual memories of like where and like what this thing has experienced and being able to take that into new experiences and continue to learn from like, and there may be some like teaching too of like, hey, this is like story time Bildo. This ain't like Futurverse Bildo, or this ain't like I do home loans for a living. Like this ain't like mortgage broker. Like this is professional life. You don't call professional life Bildo. You know what I mean? You need to know that this
you
is
differentiate
not
my two lives.
Yeah. There needs to be some like conceptual awareness of like if you really do, and or you need to have like
daytime Bildo and late night Bildo.
Separate AIs of like, okay, clocking into fucking, crypto Twitter, like,
or it knows at this time zone. Okay, we're gonna flip the switch, and now we're at crypto Twitter. And she's gonna
like Severance.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all of those things play out, but it creates like an infinite world of infinite different possibilities or characters, and or how much do people want to spend their time creating alternate like personalities or characters, or you know what I mean, like I don't know, life's a lot to manage, and then like you add on like I could never catfish anybody. I just couldn't like you know what I mean, like that seems like a lot, but like I understand that there is that sector of people that can do that. So like, can those people then create hundreds of different personalities that are now interacting as AI in this, crazy...
What's real anymore, right? That's what we're gonna say. What's real anymore?
It's gonna get very, very wild. That's for sure.
D, anything you want to add to this? And we're getting at the 2-hour mark, Bildo, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but like we've kind of asked a bunch of the questions that we wanted to ask with you and Dave here. But D, anything you want to ask Bildo before I ask Bildo the last question?
I mean, there's a lot to digest in what we've talked about, and I don't know, it's been really cool to get your take on things and find out like about where you started as well. And it kind of all started with rollerblading, right? All back in the day. Who would have thought like that kind of a whole 360 brought you here? So I had a question because just regarding like in real life meetups, we did get to kind of like say hi for like 5 minutes, and then we kind of went off into like talking to other people. Are you planning on maybe also like returning to DCon or other in real life events that we could meet up with you?
Yeah, I mean, me and Dave were talking earlier. Depending on how things go, I think we're both a little up in the air, but we may be going to ETH Denver at the end of February. Outside of that, like that decon was the first like big group interaction that I had done with any community. Fluff had done some stuff, but it was like like I missed the boat on a lot of that. So like that was the first time I'd ever met like a big group of people. I've met a few people like from different communities in real life, but that was the first time I had met that many people from like a what I would consider Web3 experience all at once.
How was it for you? How'd you
Yeah.
like it?
It was good. I feel like everybody was what I expected. You know what I mean? Like there
People as
wasn't
advertised.
there wasn't anybody that I was like, oh wait, what? Like that's like you're that. I feel like out of anybody, I feel like I was going into that situation the biggest wild card. I feel like I knew the least amount of people, and I feel like the least amount of people knew what to expect when I was coming there. Like, I don't think there was like a whole lot of pictures or
No.
me being totally doxxed.
Dave made it sound like you were an old man, dude. He made it sound like you were some old dude. You know what I mean?
So I feel like I was more the wild card, or the more like, oh, okay, like that's who you are.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a decent idea about a majority of the people, but again, like with story time, I feel like with me and Dave, I feel like that solidified the like. I feel like we have a good time. We have a lot of laughs. You know what I mean? Like, is this just a crazy internet friend, or does this translate into real life? And I feel like between like me, Omiwan, Dave, Dev, like Cash, I feel like it immediately transferred into in real life, and like there is the same like, I'm gonna give you shit, we're gonna have a good laugh, like
It's spaces in real life.
it 100% more, I feel like solidified or made it a bit more real. So yeah, I'm very grateful for going out and making that decision.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like when like, because I saw a few people that I knew at the after party, and then Dave. I was talking to Dave. Like I already knew what he looked like, so I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." Like Dave is right there, so I went and said hi to him.
I'm listening,
And
but I'll
then-
be right back.
Okay. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, this is I think I was saying hi to Mahalo and Batman." And then he was all like, "Oh, this is Bildo." I'm like, "What? Bildo Bunny?" And I was like, it was so cool to like actually meet you in person. I'm like talking to you over spaces for so long, and just to put like the face and the voice, you know, to the character of the PFP. I was like, this is so cool. It's
Yeah,
like,
I didn't know that was Bildo till he actually spoke, right?
yeah.
Because like literally, I was looking for an old man because I didn't know what he looked like, and Dave was just saying Dave, right? But yeah, when he spoke, I'm like, holy shit, it's the bunny.
Yeah, I kind of was like, because there was a few like men around Dave, and so I just assumed like, okay, these are probably some people that we may know from Storytime, but to like actually like, oh my gosh, this is so cool to like meet people that we've interacted with, and then some other people that we already kind of met, or like Casey and stuff, like we've known her for a while and kind of sort of met her in 2022, but not really, kind of thing. Like we saw her, and yeah, it was just great to see her and actually like have conversations this time around last year in 2024. But yeah, it's it's good to actually, if you're able to come out and meet people in real life that you've been talking to over the internet. It just makes it so much more real, and the connection like even like deeper, and like you said, solidifies that connection when
You
you
got to quiz him
meet
now.
them in
Quiz
real
him
life.
since he was gone. Quiz him. What'd you say?
No, yeah, I agree. It solidifies it. I told you guys preemptively before we went live, like that was one of my regrets of like not getting, because like I feel like story time made me want to meet everybody a little bit more. And then like I feel like you guys were busy because you guys were kind of like hosting the show or helping out hosting and doing all of that. So there was like a brief moment before, but then I had a friend from like, 20, I hadn't seen her in a good like 10 years. So I ended up like talking to her most of the night, and I was bummed that I was not able to like experience that portion of the trip. I feel like the rest of the trip, the mansion, um, it was a great experience getting to know. Like, I am still shocked that there was no like blow ups or like 14
Fights?
people.
Oh,
There's nobody
people.
getting like too drunk of like, oh god, this asshole. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
there, it was
There's a good vibe.
through and through for like all 4 days. I feel like nothing
Great.
but like good vibes, people having a good time.
That's cool.
So like I was, because I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
I had story time. I got to know Omi-Wan a bit through story time.
Yeah.
This fucker came up, fucking met me at my house, fucking parked his truck. We drive to fucking Vegas. I've never met the guy.
Oh no shit! You guys went
Yeah,
You
together.
drove?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like we
That's cool.
drove
You got all
out
your
to go-
kidneys, right, Bildo?
Yeah. So like, but like again, like that was like you never know, like
Yeah.
with these type of situations. But like it was it's a 3.5 hour drive to Vegas, and like we cruised out the whole time. There was no like there was
Yeah,
No
no
like
awkward
awkward
moment.
silence.
No awkward
It was
moment.
just like completely natural. Like it was an awesome fucking, and I'm like, okay, like if I can make it 3.5 hours in a drive with a complete stranger, I feel like this weekend's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of personalities in the house.
bet.
Mhm.
So it was interesting to kind of watch it all play out. I think I have seen enough because like you guys have done like Comic-Con. There's a lot of different events that I feel like you guys have been able to meet each other at and since I don't know 2020, 2021.
I think 3 or 4 years already. They've been doing
Yeah.
events every year. Yeah.
So like I feel like a good portion of your community have like met each other at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was the wild card of like Bill's coming out like why like okay like and I don't think many people knew what to expect, but from my point of view, I feel like everybody got along, everybody had a good time, and it was like I had a great time. And again, I feel like it solidified more of relationships that I feel like I'm like, these people are cool. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I would
Yeah.
vibe with them. And then it's like I do vibe with these people. Like I could definitely do like a weekend getaway with my friends that I would normally do within real life. I feel like I am just as comfortable traveling or doing things with these people, especially after like the amount of time that you spend on spaces talking with certain people. So yeah, I had a great time.
And I gotta agree with you on that. So we were in the same boat with you, right? I mean, we didn't drive; we actually flew from Hawaii. But so we've been talking with a lot of people for 2 years. In fact, here's a funny story. I've known Dave for 2 years. I met him back in 2022, and he doesn't fucking remember. I met him at the bowling alley. I was drunk though, but I remember meeting him. He was with Nas at the time, and then I remember like maybe 2 years later, we got interviewed, and he jumped up. And I'm like, Dave, I met you before, by the way. No, I'm like, yeah, I met you, but he didn't. He doesn't remember, right? So for me, like meeting some of these people in Vegas, I've known them for 2 years. Not once did I feel like, okay, I'm gonna get my freaking kidneys, cut out of me. But you made a really good point. Like, there's a bunch of personalities. I think for our group, we had like maybe 20 people in our group. We were considered the Fremont group, right? We didn't hang out at the mansion. We were kind of like more in at the casinos and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of us got together, all different personalities. Some of them are in this chat. We all got along. We never got into argument, other than maybe like we're late for stuff. But like other than that, yeah, never got an argument. It was such a great time. I can definitely see us doing this again. And I feel you. When I went to Kid Arcade's party, there was a lot of people I never got to talk with either, other than having maybe a 2 to 5 minute conversation, like Vegan Things and Jesus, who we've had on the podcast that we finally got to get to know just by doing this type of medium.
I mean, like, shout out to Vegan. Like, I didn't partake because, like, I don't like
sweet stuff,
sugary drinks. But like, he came through with like a fucking Costco size like supply of Jello shots, and like the mansion definitely partook in quite a few, and I feel like they were very well utilized, and people had a great time on them. Again, not my thing. Like they can get dangerous. In Vegas, everybody orders these like yard long fucking pina colada. Like, I'm like,
fruity drinks.
It's like that's an instant headache in the morning.
You want a beer?
I'm good. You know what I mean? Give me a shot or a beer, and I'm good. But yeah, he brought over. But it was things like that. There was, I think it was on Sunday, I feel like a random amount of people came through
the mansion.
Yeah, and like everybody was just hanging out, having a good time. Like, even with even more personalities getting added into the house of like, shit, now there's like 30 people here. Everybody was just having a good time. That's good. Like just enjoying each other's company. And at the end of the day, I don't care what you're collecting or what I'm collecting. If we can all just get along and have a beer, have a laugh, talk some shit, you know what I mean? Tell a story, whatever it may be. I just want to have a good time.
Camaraderie.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys having me. You guys are good people. And
thank you.
It's been, again, I was disappointed that I didn't get to spend more time with you guys in Vegas. And hopefully there'll be some more meetups that, it won't be so like there's the Fremont crew and the mansion. I didn't know that was a thing.
I completely agree. No, that's just kind of what it was called, because our group pretty much always met at the Fremont area, right?
Yeah.
So like our hotel somehow became headquarters because a lot of us was staying in the same place. So like our entire group always came to us, which was kind of nice. So we just kind of hung out always like either at the bar down there or at like the food court or in the Fremont area. That's kind of where we hung out, or we all went to each other's rooms.
Where'd you guys stay?
So we stayed at the Plaza, and it's mainly because we got the really good rates for being at Decon. But a lot of us was staying at the Plaza, so it just made sense to like all meet up there. There were some other people that are staying in they were discombobulated, but everyone kind of came to the Plaza.
Like Randy and Sparky and like,
oh, I'm not sure where they were.
I don't know where they went.
Yeah.
So who all was at the Plaza, or who was the Fremont crew?
So basically, I don't know if you know Web V. So we had like Guri, Osmond Collects, Collectors Gone Digital, Video Shane, Big Bro, all of their wives, a lot of people that follow us, audiences, Shawnee Poo, Mission, there's like a lot of people, and there's some people I can't mention because I can't dox their names. So like wives and stuff like that, though.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like,
no, no,
Yeah.
no.
yeah. No,
But,
there was
like,
like a
even,
lot of us
like,
there.
even like the biggest bro, like I like walked into the bar and like,
Arcade.
that's got to be the biggest bro. He is literally, in fact, the fucking biggest bro. Like, he is a big dude.
Yeah.
And like he totally, I knew very little about him, but the
Yeah.
little that I did know, I'm like, the math is mathing. This math
The math is math.
exactly what I would have expected. You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Not like a tiny
it's
Filipino guy. No. It's
fun-loving, fucking big personality, like exactly the way I would have pictured. So I feel like there were not like very many surprises to me that I'm like, wait, what? Like that's Keanu? You know what I mean? Like there was like there was
well, it
pretty
helps
much.
you know what we look like because we pretty much dox our faces on TV, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew you guys before going in.
Okay.
Or like what we look like.
I don't know that I feel like I knew you guys through Storytime, but I don't know if I had watched like any of the podcast, and shame on
Yeah.
me, you know.
Awesome.
No, you're
So,
good,
Yeah.
man.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
celebrating the 169th live stream,
Let's go.
and I found you guys late, but I'm glad I found you guys, and I appreciate you guys having me on. But yeah, I think when I walked into that like karaoke night or whatever it was, I'm like, I don't know who a majority of these people are.
But it
Until
didn't matter, right?
somebody's
It
like,
didn't matter.
You know, like, oh, this is Donkey Gooch, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I
Makes sense.
again makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Like I get it, dude. What's up? And like again, he was exactly as advertised. I had a great time with him,
Yeah.
both at that place in the beginning and then also at like craps tables later. Like those guys were having a fucking good time doing Vegas the way Vegas should be done.
Nice.
So like, yeah, it was. Yeah, I had a great time. But walking into that place, I think probably Dave was like, you know, that's D and I'm like, oh, okay. You know,
Okay.
and, like Kid Arcade, I was even less familiar with because like,
Yeah.
you know,
You don't watch his content.
Yeah. And
it
he's
was
already on
just not
Spaces.
something that I was like following or collecting.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, but it was a
It
good
kind of
time.
it all worked out. I mean, like, because I've kind of felt the same way when we went there. It was nice to know when we went there because we knew the owners very well. We know Kid Arcade very well. We were kind of helping facilitate the event. So, like, walking in there, at least we had that safety net of like, we know the facilities and who owns it. So, like, we won't feel uncomfortable kind of thing. But we didn't know the people that were coming. There were some people that I've never met before, some that I have, some that really didn't give the time of day, and that's fine. But, like, you know, different personalities, right? And you never know what to expect. But for the most part, everything was cool. We had a really good vibe. But yeah, you know, I agree with you. I really kind of wish we had more time to culminate together, you know. And I'm not really into like, oh, the Magic Mansion crew and the Fremont crew. That's just kind of what was people saying, right? You know, just for a different.
But like I didn't do decon, so like
Yeah.
to me, there wasn't a whole lot, at least that I can remember, outside of that like karaoke night.
Got you.
That was like that's where I feel like that's where that was the one night that I feel like maybe outside of the con that like everybody was getting together kind of at the same spot.
Yeah.
So like if it wasn't, I don't feel like the mansion people went out and like we did stuff, we had a good time, but I don't feel like there was a whole lot of interacting with like, oh, here everybody else is doing this, we're going to go meet up with all of these people over here. But I feel like
Yeah.
karaoke night was the night that like everybody was in the same spot
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the same thing.
Now,
And
we
that's
were
what
we
I
were
regret,
advertising
because
where we
I
were, right?
was like predisposed with a friend that actually owns the bar right next door to the bar that we were at. And yeah, it was nice catching up with her. I wish I would have caught up with her the next day or the day prior and been able to like enjoy everybody together at the same spot that
Yeah.
particular night. Because I see certain videos and I'm like, I don't remember that at all. Where was I?
Hey, I'm not
But it
gonna lie,
also
I got drunk
a
that
lot
night.
of
So.
fun. Because like Dave was giving me shit the whole time, like, so does she know about like Bildo? Like, does she know? And like would hold up a picture of like, you
A
know,
fluff bunny.
never fluff. And he's like, you better act right. And he was just fucking showed the picture as he's walking by me, and I'm like, fuck you, Dave. Like, fuck you. This was
Oh
my
my gosh,
mistake.
I can totally
This
see
is
Dave
my
doing that.
mistake for bringing an in real life friend to
Well, I mean, she was right
this
next door,
event.
so it's very coincidental. So
Yeah. No, I mean, ultimately, I had a good time. There was a lot of laughs. I think I just wish I could have been more engaged with people when everybody was together, because that was like the one night that like everybody was together.
Yeah.
But
No, I agree.
I had a lot of fun at the mansion as well. So like overall, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I tell people like, oh no, I went out, like 14 of us stayed. I never met any of them. Wait, really?
You did what now?
But like it really was like, I don't think I could have asked for overall, like there's a few, minor little things, but like overall, when you put all things in perspective and you have people coming from, like somebody like Emoji that like he had never traveled, like, I mean, he says like, "Oh, I'm on the West Coast now," and I'm like,
I was gonna say that.
It's not really it's
On the dry side.
ish, but like
Ish.
in California.
It's not on the West
You know what I
Coast.
mean? Like,
You're missing that body of ocean.
but like it was like a completely different experience for him.
Yeah.
So like his experience of like, and like again, it's a
Even
3.5 hour.
D.
It's a 3.5 hour drive for me. Like I used to, we do like turnaround trips where it's like you drive out Saturday morning, party fucking all night long, and then drive back Sunday.
Feel like shit driving back home.
Yeah, just
I've done it. I've done it.
But it was great, So like Vegas is something that I've experienced numerous amounts of times. So like I didn't need to have the like, oh, let me go to this club or have this restaurant. Like I've been there, done that. But other people,
no little darlings for Bildo.
And or like I feel like Max has like an affinity of like trying to make sure that everybody loves whatever the fucking burger joint is there over like In-N-Out. Like I forget what they have in Texas.
I don't know.
Oh, Grumpy's?
I don't know, some burger joint in Texas. And I feel like he wanted everybody to have that particular burger because it's so much better than In-N-Out. And I'm not a big In-N-Out fan. But again, it's just interesting to see so many different people's perspective coming from different parts of the country, experiencing Vegas in a different way for the first time, for the 100th time, for whichever way where you fall in between. But all of those different experiences, I feel like still led into no issues. Like I've had some issues in Vegas. You know what I mean? There has been some like sketchy Vegas experience for me for sure. but this one was like
Camaraderie.
everybody just had a good time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was genuinely through and through nothing but like a positive experience. Everybody either met my expectations or exceeded my expectations of like, like shout out to Casey. Like she is such a genuinely just good person. And I feel like I knew that, but like we all went to dinner at the last night and she took care of it. And like nobody asked her to do it. Nobody expected her to do it. I think some people really appreciated her doing it of like, this is, maybe a little bit more expensive than I wanted to. So
They
like,
had a bad night.
so like, but again, just a testament of like, she didn't have to do that and she did it. And like, again, nobody expected, but just an awesome, like you are just, I feel like you're a genuine good human being on Spaces. And now in real life, I'm getting the experience or the confirmation that you are just like a genuinely good human being. So, it was cool to see some of that play out in real life.
That's awesome, man.
Yes,
Ahead,
that's awesome that, for this being like your big like event with a lot of people, like strangers you've never met, and to have such a great experience that first time, I think that kind of helps you be able to like want to come out for like the next ones, because it was like such a
I
good
mean,
experience.
it would be interesting. I feel like it has to be the right set of personality, like to do that again. It's always interesting putting multiple personalities in a household.
Real world.
I mean,
Yeah.
especially even like, like you have Max and Janie, like it takes a particular like married couple to also be okay to be a married couple staying in a household of like other people
Degenerates.
that are not married. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
We definitely know what you mean.
So like it was a whatever mix that like was sprinkled to make it all happen. I don't know that
You can duplicate that magic.
or I feel like it's bound, like there's no way we come out unscathed a second time. You know what I mean? Like
There's only one way to find out is to go back.
something's gotta go wrong.
Well, wait. So let's rewind. So like this is our second event where we meet with a lot of the community, mainly from the digital collecting side, right? And I say that because it wasn't just VV people there, but this is the second event we've gone to where we've had similar feelings with what you just described. I've gone to Vegas a ton of times. I used to live in Costa Mesa, right on Harbor and Fairview. So
Okay.
I've done the Vegas trip a bunch of times. I've had some bad experiences with like high school friends, like real, like my friends that like made up names like you, like Bildo name. I'm not even gonna say my name, but it's just but stuff like that. I've had fights with them, but when we went to Vegas, and trust me, we had conflicting personalities, no issues, and the same with like 2022 when we went to Decon. A bunch of people, that was worse. D and I didn't know anybody. And I was freaking nervous. And there was way more people in 2022. I want to say 1,000 plus. This event, I think only had like 200 of us there. But even then, never once did I feel like I wasn't welcomed. Everyone was nice. Even the ones that I don't really talk with a lot. We all kind of like, we had this camaraderie because we were here for a certain purpose to come together because we're hanging out because of Vivi. This time around, we're coming together because of Vivi and all these other things. And I still think when you go to these other events, Bildo, you're going to still feel that camaraderie because that's how it always is with this type of group that we're in right now. At least the people that I've hung out with and you've hung out with, it's always been this same vibe.
I'll put it to you this way is if everybody comes out to like San Diego Comic-Con, San Diego is not far from me at all. I would be more than happy to go out there. And I feel like people like Mahalo, who is like a diehard collector, You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
from what I can gather in all of, you know, at least like the VV Candy type of like IP, it almost seems like, you know, DC versus Marvel type of situation. You know what I mean? But like, it seems like through and through, Mahalo strikes me as somebody that really, really understands like the collectibles. Like, he's been collecting for a long time. He knows the issue numbers, the comics, the relevant, like, it seems like he, and that's something that I am not into. But I feel like if we met up at Comic-Con, I would be like, "Dude, Mahalo, what's going on?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What we doing tonight?
It would be like, I don't feel like, because we've done decon, we stayed in a house, like, it seems like there's just like a like, we're cool, like, you're good people. You know what I mean? Like, there's like, let's just have a good time.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's all about, though, Bildo. When we went to Decon in Vegas, we had I think the 3 to 4 day pass. We went twice. In fact, the second day we stayed for like 1 hour. The rest of it was doing exactly what you were doing, hanging out with these people that we've been talking with on the internet for 2 freaking years, 6 months to 2 freaking years, and just having a good time. We were planning on going to New York Comic Con. We were going to go to San Diego, but I don't think we're going to make it this year. But we're definitely going to go back to Vegas this year. So those are the events that we're going to try to make it. Now, when it comes to California, I mean, I'm not sure where you are, but I've got a ton of friends in LA, up in like Riverside area, out in Newport. So we're always kind of visiting California once in a while. So
I lived in Riverside before I bought my house where I live now. I lived in Riverside for like 11 years, but grew up and I'm like currently living in like Redlands area, if you know like where Redlands would be at. So like Ontario, San Bernardino, Highland, Redlands, Yucaipa, Beaumont, Banning, and then you get into like Palm Springs area.
Yeah.
So grew up in I grew up in the Inland Empire, like if that area. My sister lived in like Mission Viejo for like 20 plus years before she relocated to North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
I lived in Huntington Beach when I was like 19.
Fun times.
It was the wildest year of my entire life. I don't regret it. I feel like if people have the opportunity to wow out like that and like just have that, like, I'm also very glad I got it out of my system at like 19, 20 years old and not like 35 and like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm going to go on a bender.
Shit, I had a kid too early and now I'm going to party.
Yeah, I did all my partying at a young age.
Same here, man.
I'm down to party. Like I will have some drinks. I'm open to some smoke and or some shrooms, and that might be like as far as I go. Outside of that, I'm good. But the younger me definitely experienced some partying for sure.
Like 4th of July on Balboa.
Yeah, like I had a really, really, really awesome experience, but it was also like an experience that like after a certain amount of time I woke up and I was like, you know, I gotta
stop.
I can't do this. You know, like this was a lot of fun, but like this is not sustainable. Like I can't continue to and like coincidentally the girl that owns the bar right next door in Vegas, she was my neighbor when I lived in Huntington Beach. So like she was like, we all partied hard, like,
Mhm.
and every apartment that partied together, like, was
Oh,
a
I feel you, man.
specialist,
I feel you.
like brought something to the party or brought something to the story to and like that complex, it was amazing, but it was also like we all had to break away from that place because like it was
Too much of
amazing,
something is too
but
much of
also
something.
like, yo, we can't keep doing this. So I ultimately ended up moving back into Inland Empire, but yeah, Huntington Beach will always have very fond memories for me.
Yeah, I can relate. And then when I moved back home because I got shot at an AM/PM in Inglewood. Don't ask me how I was there, but needless to say, I came back home, and then that
So
year
are
when I
you
came,
from Hawaii?
so I'm originally from the island of Kauai. Actually, I live on the island of Hawaii now, the Big Island they call it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm originally from Kauai, and then I moved up California when I think back in like '05. And I was there for about a year before I got shot at. And then I moved back home, and that's when I met Dee here on the. I won't say, but other than the go-go dancing that she was doing, and that's a real story, by the way. You know, it's a fucking real story.
Oh my
Don't lie.
gosh.
But needless to say, when I was up
Feather
there, I had
outfit in a cage.
she was dancing in a cage. But like I had a similar thing. When I moved back here, I rented a house. I had this Peruvian roommate. Man, that guy didn't like to pay for shit. He always used to use the
God.
freaking I forgot my wallet excuse, right? But same
Mhm.
thing. I partied there. And then when I first met her, we moved in together. She kind of moved in. Like we kind of knew when like the fucking bathroom had lady stuff. I'm like, something's up here. But needless to say, she moved in, never moved out, and Dee and I were partying ever since then. I think '06 we started getting together until '09. That's how long we partied. And '09 is when we had a kid. So no, that's not. I'm
No.
sorry, not '09. It was 2012. We found out we're having a kid. So we partied till
Yeah.
2012. Yeah. And so our house was the party house every weekend, except for Friday nights. Saturday nights it would be our house every single time. We party on the roof. We used to have like lawn chairs on the roof. I had a flat roof. It was like a carport, so people would be up there. We had this ohana that was like open vaulted. And I remember one night we had like my friend's band performing for a wedding in there because he had nowhere to perform. I said, "Come to our house." And I think it was like 1 a.m. We threw this huge party. The band was practicing. We had people dancing inside and outside. In Hawaii, it was a little bit different back then. The cops really didn't want to do their job. So like if they didn't have to come to your house unless someone called the cops on you, they'd never show up. So the whole idea is to make sure you invite your neighbor so you don't piss your neighbor off, right?
Yeah.
And that's
No.
what we did. And
I
we did that till 2012. And then Dee and I were like, okay, we're getting burnt out. And that's when we found out we had a daughter coming, and that changed our ways. But we've been partying ever since we met. So I can relate 100% with what you're saying.
I mean, I lived in a condo in Riverside. Yeah,
I mean,
lived
I
there
set
for
something on fire at a box
I
store.
lived there for like
So-
10 years, and I'm a big 4th of July fan. Like, I'm not a big like Thanksgiving or Christmas person. Give me like St. Patty's Day, 4th of July, and like Halloween. And like I would take those over Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just my personal style. So either which way, every year I grew up in a very modest family. We were never like, I feel like mid to like lower class. Like we didn't have a ton,
Yeah.
like we'd go to the fireworks and it would be like, you have $10 to spend. So it was like you got the little snakes or the flowers
Pop
and like,
Tops.
Yeah.
you got some stuff. So like when I became an adult, there are a few things, and it was the same for Christmas, like one string of lights around the house. And like there's been a few years that I've completely just like went to town on my house with Christmas lights and like, let's light this whole fucking block up. Like, yo, this is my
National
house.
Lamp
Like,
Christmas
this is where
vacation.
the Christmas lights are. I want people to travel and come see the house in this particular city. I enjoy that when I'm well funded to do so. So I used to always put on like a fireworks show in these condos. It's totally not allowed to be able to light off the fireworks that I was doing, but I did exactly what you said of like, yo, I'm gonna be lighting off some fireworks, bring the kids, bring fucking, you know what I mean? Like, hey, everybody in the complex, come enjoy the fireworks show. So that way, like, nobody in the complex would be like calling the cops on the guy that's like, it's like, no, we want to enjoy a fireworks show. We
No,
don't
we're all
want
invited. Yeah.
to go down to this facility to see those fireworks. We can just see it in our complex. Like, yo, put it on. Let's have a good time.
You don't have to pay for anything.
So yeah, I love fireworks. 4th of July is for sure my favorite holiday. And I did exactly that. Invite the neighbors. Let's put on a show. Because when I was a kid, I remember looking up the street and seeing like, you know, at the end of the cul-de-sac, like that family putting on all the cool fireworks where I just had like, you know,
Pop-pops.
like
Pew, pew.
sparklers,
Little smoke bombs that
flowers, and,
stink.
like, this is fucking bullshit. I mean, it was fun, but like they got some cool shit up there.
Yeah.
So once I became an adult and well funded enough to like have some fun with it, I will always and forever, like, that is one guilty pleasure that I have no problem like spending some money on, is getting some good fireworks to put on a good show and let other people enjoy it as well. Like I very much enjoy seeing other people's like, like, yes, that was such a good, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, me and my brother-in-law put it on. We were lighting off like 5 and 6 at a time to where it's like, these ones do this, these ones do that. So these ones should be shooting up at this time. And like, you know, there's a little bit of art to like trying to put on a good fireworks show. So like to see it play out and then like look and seeing like, you know, your condo complex all like, yeah, like love it. Like it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling for sure. I love fireworks.
So did you buy it out of the back of a trunk, and did you have to watch that DVD, or back then it was a VHS tape where they actually showed you the fireworks, and then, you know, you make your order and the dude shows up?
I mean, I definitely looked at some stuff on YouTube. But like again, like you either go to Vegas or Utah to get like, and or Arizona. There's some Indian reservations that you can get like.
Okay. So you know
some
where to get the outsourced material that you need. To have
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't really feel like you can get them in. I mean, you can get them secondary, you know, on the secondary.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like in secondary,
in
they gave us like this
California,
DVD.
but like if you just want to go to the source, you're going to like Arizona, Nevada, or Utah.
Okay. Okay.
And then, and or like a lot of people where we live will go to like Lake Havasu for summer. So it's just kind of like, hey, if you're out at the river, like for the weekend, can you bring home some fireworks with you?
Yeah.
And like, it's not that expensive. Like, I feel like you can have a really fucking good time for a few $100s.
Yeah.
Like if you have $300, you can put on like
a show.
I mean, you're not rivaling like the city show of like, oh my God, this is like you can have and especially like that close up when you're lighting them off, like you can have a really good time for a couple $100 with fireworks. So yeah, 4th of July is hands down my favorite holiday. I love fireworks.
Let's go.
Just
Dee,
likes to
anything
blow
you want to
shit
add to
up.
this?
Yeah, we're lucky. We kind of live in a cul-de-sac, and we have Filipino Hawaiian neighbors, and they're the ones that buy like all the illegal shit. And so all we gotta do is just go outside our window, or we're inside the house because it's usually like windy as fuck and cold outside. But we're in the house, and right
We
at
have a
midnight,
two-story.
yeah, and they just like blow the stuff up. And so we're just in our house, you know,
Hey, 10
warm.
feet away, the shit's going off in the sky
Yeah,
right
they're
by our
just,
house.
like,
That's how
blowing
crazy this
stuff
neighborhood
up.
gets. It's like a war zone.
Yeah. I was like, it's free. It's like, yes. It's awesome.
But like, so you guys don't set them off? You just let the neighbors set them off, and you
Yeah.
enjoy?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
See,
pretty
I'm
much.
the guy that wants to bring your household enjoyment. You guys don't want to do it, but you enjoy it. And I'm like, let me put on the show, and you guys just sit back and enjoy some fireworks. Just don't call the cops on me for lighting off some
Right.
fireworks. You know what I mean? Like, if you're enjoying them and having a good time, but there's always like, you know,
Yeah, well, over here, the
lady with
police
the
force
dog
is
that gets
very,
scared.
very spread thin here on New Year's Eve. Very spread thin. Because the whole idea is you're not allowed to have those aerials, right? Everybody's got them. And so, you know, you equate that to the police force on an island. They cannot police it. So New Year's is kind of funny. You literally hear them say, you know, we're going to like arrest you for doing all these things. But it's like, which house? You know what I mean? It's everybody on the island. So yeah, I mean, before my goddaughter, so I have a goddaughter who's 22. She now lives in Arizona. She loved fireworks, and I used to spend thousands of dollars. I used to be that guy that I used to be that house. I used to be you, but I had the kids come over, so I'd have all the little pops and all the little ground bloomers for the kids, and then late at night, I'd be like setting off like the freaking big ones and doing all that stuff. And I don't miss it, Bildo, because it was a shit ton of money I used to spend. But we used to be that house where kids used to come over. My goddaughter, she grew up and she left. And my daughter hates fireworks. She doesn't like them. And so like I'm in this gap now where like I don't really buy them because my daughter is not into it. But I really feel like my son's going to be into it. So I think, give me another 5 years, I'll get back into fireworks. But I haven't bought fireworks in like years.
Yeah, my brother-in-law does like massage therapy, and he had a client in Orange County that like he does like a specialized, he's really good at what he does. Either which way, this guy was like needing spinal surgery. My brother-in-law ended up like fixing him. He was told he wouldn't walk again. Now he's like back to surfing. So this guy like feels very indebted to my brother-in-law. So either which way, once they moved to North Carolina, they offered to like buy him a house, like if they would stay.
Wow.
They didn't do it, but anytime they want to come back to California, they have like a beach house like right on like Newport Beach.
Wow.
Probably it's like in, I don't know how familiar you are with like Newport or that area, but there's a part of the boardwalk where you can't ride your bike, like just through, like normally you can ride along the boardwalk and you see all the houses, you know, on your left-hand side, and the beach is on your right-hand side. Then there's like a stretch of like maybe 20 homes where the boardwalk closes off and it's just like house and beach, but no boardwalk in between.
Yeah.
And then the boardwalk continues and takes you to the pier, you know, a little bit down the way. They had a house in that portion where there's no boardwalk. And
Nice.
on 4th of July, like Newport, like it goes fucking off. Everybody, like, so like all up and down, like the entire like beach of Newport is exactly what you're talking about. It's like, how do you
It's a big block party.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like
You can walk into
see a
people's
cop going
homes.
this way, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, fireworks the opposite direction. Is like, you see the cop going this way, and then it's like all of a sudden to the left, just boom, 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 and you're just like, look, like you're fighting a losing battle. Like I get you're here to do something, but like just let people.
Which house?
Just call it
You know
night
what I mean?
today.
Like we're all out here just having a good time, and you're on the beach, you're near the ocean. Like there's not like projectiles going towards houses. There's no like fire damage. Like I feel like most people, although most are inebriated and like pretty fucked up, I feel like still light off fireworks pretty responsibly and like, you know,
Well,
I'm not going to cause any like big harm. So it's like this a giant beach full of people lighting off amazing fireworks. So if you're ever in the area for 4th of July, I definitely recommend just going anywhere
I've experienced it. I know
in
exactly
Newport.
what you're talking about in Newport Beach. They go crazy. They have house parties. I mean, I've never been in a situation where I've walked from house to house and the doors are just left open. They're letting people. I mean, that's how it was in 2005. I don't know about now, with COVID and everything, but like back then, it was fun. 4th of July went off. Exactly. People were shooting stuff in the sky. Everyone was just having a good time. There was Malarkey's. I believe that's the name of the bar. Malarkey's, the Irish pub
Uh-huh.
on Balboa. So that
Uh-huh.
was a fun place to go hang out. My friend, he had a band called Wild Animals. And so we used to go and meet them over there. And he's like one of those guys where he's like, yo, bro. He talks like the freaking turtle from, what is that?
Crush. Oh,
Yeah,
from
Crush.
Nemo.
Like,
Finding
yo,
Nemo.
what's up, Hidano, bro? Come into my house. Come on. That's how he talks. So, yeah, I had a good time. But, Bildo, we are almost at 3 hours. Can you believe it went to 3 hours already?
Yeah, no. It's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to close it off like this. We'd love to have you back on, by the way. I feel like we have not even scratched the surface with like Readyverse and all that other stuff. But like this is part of the program.
Dave came in and hijacked it, kind of derailed us for a little bit. But again,
Dave does what Dave
I love
does.
Dave.
Man.
I love the AI discussion.
Yeah.
These rabbit holes are very deep, and I feel like you can easily I love long form discussion, like Joe Rogan style podcast, to where like you can sit down and just genuinely get to know somebody or a topic. So I feel like there's a lot of rabbit holes. I'm more than happy to come back at any point in time and maybe be a little bit more focused on a particular area or topic of it. But yeah, I've had a blast. Time flies when you're having fun.
Well, good. There's one last question I want to ask you, and this is a question I usually ask everybody, and that's, do you have a question for D and I? We usually like to turn the tables and say, anything you want to ask us before we let you go?
I was thinking about this earlier, and like I think I don't want to ask. I mean, I would ask it for my personal reason, but I don't want to ask it because, like, I feel like the audience probably already knows. But like, that would be my same thing. Like, where you started out, like, where's your journey? Like, how did you get into? Like, I have no idea what led you guys to. I'm imagining some type of like collector previously between like digital collectibles, but like I also don't know if the collector side came out because of the digital collectibles. So I guess my question would be, because I don't know you as well as probably the rest of the community that is tuned in to you guys, like I don't know your guys's origin story into all of this either.
Well, I like to keep myself as an enigma, so no one's really asked me about my origin story yet. Dee has an episode that kind of describes her entire origin story. She came from a little tiny island, and I can give you the link if you want to look at that. But like when it comes to getting into this space, I came in for the money aspect. I was looking for another asset to invest in. I was big in the stock market, TradFi. I got lucky with Tesla stock. I was buying it when it was like at $26 a share. And, we all know where that went. I got lucky at COVID. I was able to sell all of my shares. I was like big on Facebook, Square, and Tesla. I sold it all. And because Dee and I were going to start a business, we were going to leave the company that we're working for right now, which is a communications company, and start a business and use that money to front for the business. Well, COVID happened, and obviously we just started a business. We ended up using that proceeds and put it right back into the stock market when everything crashed. And so that's kind of how I was able to amass this fun money that I'm playing with. A lot of what I'm doing here with like the digital collectibles, Vivi, and trust me, just like you, I've paid into way more than I should have. I guess you call that educational purchasing. But like I wouldn't be able to do any of that if it wasn't for me making those decisions by luck and investing in early. So I got into this space. I wanted to invest in NFTs. My chiropractor got me into this space. And he's more into the Web3 side. You know, he was like into like the crypto punks and all this stuff, not really into the licensed IP. And I didn't know shit about like wallets or any of this stuff. So I went down the rabbit hole and I found out that AMC was actually giving away a free digital collectible. It was a golden popcorn. And so I was a member of AMC Connect. And so that was my first NFT, was this golden popcorn from AMC. I think I still have it. It's on wax. But that led me down the rabbit hole. I started researching some more, and that's when I discovered Vivi. And I just literally went on my phone and typed in NFT, and Vivi showed up. And I'm like, wow, what is digital collectibles? And, you know, this is like the way that it was marketed at first. It was like the first of this IP of its kind that will be on the blockchain, and, you know, we'll have self-custody. That's how it was marketed in the beginning. So that got me into it. And then obviously with the whole gem things, and, you know, I don't know if you know that part about the market where a lot of stuff was inflated because of like, you know, inflated gems. I went through that. I met this community. I figured out what it was about. Then the collecting aspect came in after, when I started like participating in live streams and talking with all these YouTubers. And then, you know, that kind of like came into this community. I started talking with a bunch of comic book collectors. It got me back into collecting. Throughout the 3 years I've been in this, it went from like the monetary value, because there wasn't really any, because the market dried up. And then now I'm more into the collecting side of it. And, you know, I don't really look at Vivi as an investment vehicle anymore. I look at it as mainly as a place where I can collect these things. I know it's not self-custody, but a lot of what the value I got out of this was the networking aspect, meeting people like you, meeting people like Dave. I would have never been able to like network if it wasn't for Vivi. And so that has brought a lot of value in my life, to a point where not only did I make back all the money I lost in Vivi, but I made a bunch of friends along the way. That's the short version. What about you, D?
Yeah, well, kind of what Hinano said. I actually found Vivi through Hinano. And then from there, like he said, we talked to, you know, people in the live stream chats. And then when there was the real life event in Anaheim in 2022, we went to that, and, you know, we got to meet some people that we've been just like interacting with online. And, you know, we just kind of wanted to continue the conversation with everybody and get to know like a lot more people than we did in California. And so we started the podcast. And then from that, we kind of mainly just stuck to Vivi for so long. And then, you know, we're like, we kind of want to branch out and meet like other people, because on X or Twitter at the time, there's like so much like random people out there. And so we just started kind of like, you know, venturing out, and we found other projects that had like characters that we enjoyed as well from Vivi, like DC stuff, Marvel stuff that we were familiar with from back when we were younger. And so that kind of like opened like the floodgates to like go in other spaces and interact with people. And oh, hey Presley. Yeah, see, I would never met Presley unless like I interacted with Ms. Gex. I wouldn't have known about you if I didn't like you know, show up to Ms. Gex's space and hear
I
all
mean, Miss
about that.
Gex was like her and O'Malley. I
Mhm.
feel like were, whenever Futurverse announced like Ready Player One, I feel like O'Malley tweeted about it and Aaron had reposted. And like, I'm always
Nice.
curious about like people in VV like will follow David Yu and like, oh, why is David Yu reposting this? Like, what could this potentially mean?
Mhm.
And I feel like Miss Gex had retweeted or tweeted something about it, and Shara had retweeted Miss Gex. And so I'm like, who are these people? Why are like Shar and Aaron and again, it could have been a complete coincidence that they were just, retweeting people with decent followings that were tweeting about the most recent news. But like, let me just check these people out. And I feel like Emily is really good at what he does. I feel like he is a very like entertaining. I understand how some people might be rubbed the wrong way by him. But like for me personally, like he's like that. I find him hilarious.
Me too.
Yeah.
Signing up for like in the same way that story time might not be for everybody as well. Like if you're getting wildly degenerate going to Diddy Mansion and fucking on my way to get my baby oil, reflipping that acronym, like
Yeah.
it might not be for everybody, but I have such a fucking good time in story time. Millie has a way of like, I host an amazing space, and I like, are you not entertained? Like, he's
He's a
good
showman.
at what he does.
He's a showman.
He's
Yeah.
good at what he does. So,
Very.
however it happened, they retweeted. I started listening in, and I feel like, Millie was hilarious. I've never had a problem talking to anybody. My business or the way I've made money has always been like getting to know people and like, you know what I mean? Like developing a relationship of some sort of like, let's talk. Like, I feel like
networking, man.
Let's do business. You know what I mean? Like we're in the people business. And then, Miss Gex seemed to take like an interest in like Futurverse especially. So like
She's awesome.
that kind of just like bred into that show that like I'm still like a little like
bittersweet.
Yeah, like I very much enjoy like Miss Gex is an amazing person. I understand all the aspects that go into that situation, and I always want to be 100% respectful. Selfishly, I'm like, God, I had such a good time doing those spaces with you. You know what I mean? So selfishly, I'm like, let's do this. You know what I mean? It was fun. But also like non-selfishly, I'm like, I totally fucking get it. You know what I mean? So
it was a good run.
It's a weird situation. But I'm grateful for the time, and also that like I feel like continued to open up doors to where the more me and her did, the more I tried to understand where she was coming from with like Vivi and the community, and that probably led more into getting to know Dave and like evolving into story time and like tying all of these like crazy history that y'all have together over the past like 3 or 4 years and coming in late and trying to figure out
you're
how
not late, man. You're not
like,
late. You're just another person jumping on the bandwagon with the rest of us. I think you're not late.
Yeah.
So
you just slid right in and you fit in.
You fit.
But I mean, I think these spaces are very much like find people that you vibe with, find people that you can have a good time, that make you laugh, that like if you are gonna spend a ridiculous amount of time with like internet friends, there's no sense of like spending that with like I don't understand like the FUD or like I'm just gonna be angry and this company just screwed us over and they took all my like. If you're gonna spend that amount of time online, just fucking have a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people love
Dave
it though,
has
right?
been like a testament of like, as soon as I met him, I picked him up from the airport. He's like, nobody else knew he was coming out, and he's like, "Can you pick me up?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I got you." And then we rocked story time from the mansion, and like immediately it was like,
Hey, I showed up that night, Dave. I showed up, man. I was literally eating dinner during story time.
it was
right.
like an immediate, and then like I think it was the day after. I feel like we were just like continuing to, and like
That's when
again,
Mike
like
Python came on.
I had no idea what like Metabeast looked like or who he was. And so like I'm telling Dave like, hey, here's my like and like, you know, interpretation of like who I think Metabeast may be, because like I don't know. Like I don't know any of these, you know. And we just had a lot of good laughs.
Metabeast was going to come, in Vegas. He couldn't. He ended up doing something else that weekend, but he was planning to come up and hang out with us.
I would have loved to meet Metabeast, and I know he was on your show. Dave's like, check him out on their show.
Yeah,
You can see
he
him.
was
And
playing
like,
back
he's
and
just
forth like
bobbing
this.
back and forth. But even somebody like that, like I feel like it comes from like a completely different probably background or like.
And it's
just
okay.
a different character that in real life I don't know if I would have stumbled across Metabeast. But now doing story time, and like I did his spaces on his show with Olga Barbecue.
Yeah.
I feel like again, like not somebody that I may have stumbled across in real life, but in this crazy space. And then you start to learn certain people's quirks, and you can kind of appreciate like this person is different than me, but like brilliantly different than me. You know, like if I was not me, I might want to be so opposite of me to be like in this like vein of like, you know, gnome collecting and like I got 0 gnomes. I'll take you through my entire house. I got 0 gnomes in my house. But it's like uniquely like, again, you collect some different shit, but like you can tell that like I feel like
we lost you, Bildo. You muted yourself.
Well, no, sorry.
There you go.
I feel like he's a genuinely good person as well. Like no matter what you collect or what you're into, at the end of the day, if people are good people, you know, let's rock and have a good time. If you're a shitty person, you know,
take a break.
I don't really have time to deal with you anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's just what it is.
And I think it goes back to like what I was saying originally, while I was asking your question. It's like, you know, and it kind of, I have this feeling like if I was walking on the side of the street and I saw you, I probably wouldn't have given you the time of day, and vice versa, right? But because of this thing called story time, or because maybe you missed Geck and you met Miss Gex, and that kind of like got you into Millie's spaces. Because I don't know when the first time I really heard you before, other than the Bill and Gex, but like just having that meetup, which then opened up the doors to network of all these different people. Regardless how you feel about whether you've been in this space early, you've lost money, you made a bad move, it's the networking aspect of this, which is the biggest value in my opinion. Whether it's friendship, whether it's a business opportunity, or whether you got alpha and you came ahead, that's all value. And that means more to me than anything else, specifically the friendship part. And so I really appreciate you coming on. I love the fact we got to get to know you. We're almost pushing like 3. Well, we hit 3 hours.
Yeah,
we hit 3 hours, Bildo. But this has been great, Bildo.
You probably have a giveaway to do. I feel like if anybody's been waiting for a giveaway, they're probably like, God, can you just get to this fucking giveaway already? So yeah, no, I know we've been going a lot longer than I would have expected, but yeah, it's been a pleasure. I've had a great time.
Dave, I lost you guys. Did you guys? I lost everything. Like my entire computer shut down. the internet. It said like lost signal. And did you guys lose me? Was I doing weird shit?
Not,
You guys
I,
were frozen for me, and then we kind of like disappeared and came back.
you
Yeah,
guys have
yeah.
been good the whole time for me. I
Oh,
Oh
shit.
wow.
seen you and I heard you
Okay.
the whole entire time, so I would have not known that you lost anything. So yeah, we're good.
Okay,
But
well,
yeah,
we're back.
it's been an amazing time. I know we're going over 3 hours. It's a long time. I appreciate you having me on. I'm more than happy to come back and chat
Yes.
more another time. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And we're not kicking you out yet because we do have a giveaway, guys. The people that were smart enough to read what I had on the screen and to win something in the chat, we are giving away 2 things that is sponsored by DNI tonight. And we'll probably have some sponsorships next week, but tonight we are going to be sponsoring the giveaway. I'm going to give you guys 1 more minute to enter hashtag relax and chill for a chance to win one of these McFarlane Toys Digital Green Lantern, as well as McFarlane Toys Digital. What the hell is this?
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle. Sorry, guys. And then
It's all good.
Bildo, for coming on, we want to give you one of these. This was a piece that was just created for us this weekend. And this is basically a representation. It's like a family photo of my family with our favorite comic book heroes. You know, me, obviously, with the hat as Batman. D as Wonder Woman. My daughter loves the character Punchline from DC. And then that is my son as Superman. So this piece also has utility that will be massive in our Discord later on. That's right, people that are watching. There are going to be some really good utility with this slab. And you can't get it by winning it on a giveaway. It'll be given in a certain way. So whoever has these pieces, they're going to be rare. So Bildo, this one's going to be for you. Thank you for coming on. I mean, in the end, it's just a really cool looking piece.
I see 34 out of 60.
Well, that probably won't be your number. We'll give you a better one. That was just one that I pulled up.
No.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah.
curious, like, you couldn't up the edition size by 9 just to like really like hammer this
yeah.
home?
I got to go talk to. So one of our artist friends did this. We never asked him to commission to do this. He originally did one with just the 3 of us, and then we had another kid. So then he felt that it was missing a kid, so he did this, and he minted 60 of these for us. So shout out to Davo, who's one of the artists in our community. So
you're the first one that we're giving one to.
You're the first.
Yeah.
So you tell us what number you want.
Oh, I mean, if 13 is available, I will take 13 all day long. 13
is yours, man. We'll get you number 13. So this is going to you, and this is going to first place and second place winner. Actually, Bildo, I would like for you to give final words for the audience before we go, and then I'll run this giveaway.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it doesn't matter what you're into, what you collect, find good people you vibe with, have a good time, have a good laugh, cheers, have a drink, you know what I mean? Like, just have a good time. Like, life's too short to be so angry about collectibles. Like, just have a fucking good time. Relax and chill, you know what I mean? Just relax and chill, basically.
Love that.
That's a perfect hashtag.
Relax and chill. D, close out the show.
Yeah, just thank you so much, Bildo, for coming on and just getting to talk to you and getting to know a little bit more about you. I know there's like probably so much other stuff we can talk about, but we'll have to save that for the next time. Appreciate you, Dave, for coming on and just chatting with us. And thanks for the people tuning in and supporting us and supporting Bildo and, you know, getting to know him as well and his journey into the space that we're all a part of. And pretty much it. Just appreciate everybody. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. And good luck to whoever wins these things.
Yeah, and shout out to the 150 people that's been watching us for a good hour. So you've had a lot of people giving you support tonight, Bildo. So shout out to you. And guys, here we go.
I didn't hear that. I didn't know that there was that many people that
for at least the good hour. So but unfortunately only 18 of those 150 entered. So let's see who's gonna be the first winner of tonight. Good luck. Let's see who's gonna get the juju for that McFarlane Toys Digital Green Lantern. Let's see who's going to win. Osmond collects
Osman,
Congratulations. These hands are for you, Mr. President.
Oh gosh.
Big congratulations right there, Oz. We will send you that Green Lantern tomorrow. And then this is the final winner of the night. This is for the Blue Beetle. Good luck, everybody.
Good
and
luck.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight.
Let's see.
DDS!
Nice.
Congratulations, Omi Singh. We have your wallet address. We will send this to you tomorrow as well. And guys, that is the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Bildo, awesome to finally get to know you for the first time, fully. This is 3 hours, so we've had a lot to talk about, and that's really awesome. And we definitely want to get you to come back on to talk about more Futurverse stuff. I think in the next couple months, we kind of want to do like an AI roundtable. We wanted to get you, maybe Dave on, and kind of really have a discussion about where the future of the space is going. And then that probably ties right into Futurverse. There's a couple other people that we're going to bring on to kind of like stimulate the conversation. So
no, absolutely. I'm always for it. And I'm always here for open discussions for people that are, down to just, it's like religion or politics. Like, I don't care what you believe in. Don't try to force your belief down my throat. I'm down to hear where you're coming from. If you're open to hear where I'm coming from as well, you know what I mean? Like, let's all just have a big old nice discussion. So, would absolutely love to come back for any type of AI discussion like that.
Well, let's go, guys. You're
fun.
going to have to wait for that, guys. But that is the show. We've been on for 3 hours and 14 minutes. There's 150 eyeballs watching us. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate everyone for watching every single time. Bildo, that's the show. I hope you had a good time. If you want to hang back a little bit before we're done, please do so. Guys, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Aloha.
Bye.
So tune in every week and join the ride. We're the Real Uncommon Podcast, and we're here to provide